here. It's big, and it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name's Bart Hanson. I'm here with the Tuckster, Dave Tuckman here, right?
I'm coughing.
It's Tuesday, so we're going to be playing a little 300 to 500 no limit hold'em with 5 blinds, restricted buy-in, best restricted buy-in game in town.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Move to the table.
Now, you were telling me right before the game that you've been really getting your ass kicked lately.
Well, no,
today.
the last 2 days, Variance has kicked my ass.
There you go. Well, let's introduce it, and we'll get to your stories in a second.
Yeah.
Seat number 1, we've got Sam I Am. Sam enjoying a sandwich there with some French fries. And seat number 2, we got good old Roy. And don't know much about Roy. See how he plays tonight.
Yeah.
Seat number 3, we've got Gus. And you know anything about this guy?
No, not much.
Yeah, I've never seen him play before.
Yeah.
Seat number 4, we've got Sylvester. And Sylvester, obviously, a long-time Live at the Biker.
I haven't seen him around in a while.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who really, he plays great for about 90% of the time, and then he just lets his emotions get the best of him, ends up going on tilt. Hopefully, for his sake, he'll be able to harness that, though. Seat number 5, we've got JR. And JR's been on the show before. Pretty solid ABC player. Seat number 6, we've got Garland. Garland's a 2+2, where we saw him on playing Limit Hold'em last night. And he's actually from the Bay Area up north. Likes to come down to Los Angeles for about a week at a time and play here. Seat number 7, we've got Tyler. And Tyler, I think, is a pretty solid player. I remember playing with him once or twice. And he's pretty solid. Doesn't get out of line too much. Seat number 8, we've got Jeff. And I know nothing about Jeff. Jeff looks like he's ordering some food.
Is that a fish shirt he has there?
Might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't really tell. Seat number 9, we got Ryan. And what do you know about Ryan?
I think Ryan actually used to work here for, maybe a week or two as a prop. And I guess it wasn't for him.
Did you guys used to hang out?
I thought he was your friend.
No, I didn't know who the guy was.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were like best
Ryan
buddies.
and I got off on a bad foot when one day he came in while I was playing in a game and came up and slapped me in the back, which I love.
Yeah. Well,
I
everybody
was
likes
about to turn around and clock him in the teeth.
Doesn't everybody like that when you're in the middle of a hand, somebody comes up behind you and smacks you in the head?
Right.
Well, thanks a lot. I'm just gambling here.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Once again, we're playing 3 to 500 no limit hold'em. This is a restricted buy-in game, and sometimes it gets real big. I mean, we've seen many times where somebody can win as much as $2,500, $3,000, and people can lose $2,000.
Yeah, the yellow chips are $5 chips. It's 5 blinds, 300 min, 500 max. Best restricted buy-in game in town. Button's going to move over here to seat 2, and we're going to get into it. As always, we like to keep this show interactive. You can email us at liveatthebike.com. Follow a live thread. Start on the internet by going to 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums. World Poker Tour, etc. Official Live at the Bike thread for April 18th. And we're going to get in here. Seat number 8 is going to raise it up to 30 here with Jack 9 of diamonds. Now, JR is real tight. He actually limped in with an ace-3 of hearts from up front. We saw him playing a bigger game, and you wonder if he's just going to make it a little bit loose because this is a smaller game for him. Because I'm a little actually surprised that he's actually in there with that hand. Queen 10 deuce here on the flop.
You always see guys who play a little higher normally step down, and then they suddenly think they can play more hands. Not usually the case.
Pretty good flop for Jack 9 there. He's got open-ended straight draw, backdoor diamonds. He bets and he takes it down.
Yeah, I take those draws there.
I was saying Variance has been my absolute killer. I've had about, you talk about, I'm down about $2,500 the last 2 days. I should be up about $4,000. I got 2 outed today for about a $2,500 pot. I had queens and the guy had jacks. Last night in the 3 to 5 game, I got to tell you, I was lucky that I went on the streak in the 3 to 5 game while I was waiting to get in the 5-10 game. I had some horrific beats.
He told me a guy caught a 3-outer in the river.
I mean, I had posted from behind as my first hand, and I had 4-7, so I checked flop game 4-5.
You're starting to sound like Mattisau.
4-4-5. I bet. Everybody called. Turn was a 7. I fill up. I bet again. One guy calls. The river was an 8, and it was the third diamond making the flush. I move all in, he calls. He turns over 4-8.
So you got 2 outed and 3 outed.
And then there were 2 other hands on that table with pocket kings against ace rag.
You know, those are
With
the
no ace on the flop.
those are the things we talk about with no limit hold'em, where you need to have a bankroll if you
Yeah.
want to play.
Absolutely.
Get to it in a second here. Top.
Seat number 1 was the razor here.
Seat 2 outflopped him with King Jack. Roy's got top pair.
Well, Sam is going to make that continuation bet with a gut shot straight draw and overcards.
Yeah, now Gus has got 10-9. He's got second pair.
Roy,
Not much else there.
Roy has. Looks like Roy might have raised here with
Yeah,
King
he
Jack.
did. Kind of a minimum little raise.
Yeah. He made it 100 to go.
Now, if you're Sam, might you take one off? Only because it depends on how much money, how deep you are. He has the ace of hearts in his hand. Could he represent hearts? Another thing also, obviously, if he gets a queen, he has a gut shot to the nuts.
Well, it looks like Roy only has. He's got actually his stacks in $50 stacks, which is
Oh, there
quite
you
rare
go.
in this game, so he doesn't have that much.
No, it's not really worth it then. Obviously, if you're deeper stacked there, sometimes with the ace king of hearts, you can take one more off.
King Jack, a great trap hand. I mean, Roy didn't really have enough money to make that call. I mean, you got to have a ton of money to make that call. And I always recommend to people that aren't very well seasoned and experienced, don't get involved with that hand because you are not looking to hit your jack. You're
course
not
not.
really looking to hit your king. You're really looking to make a Broadway straight against a guy who makes a set.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was funny. I played a hand last night, actually, versus, what's the guy's name? Chris
Masterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he raises, and I call him. I had queen 10 suited.
Yeah.
I thought there was enough dead money in the pot, and I thought I might be able to outplay him, so I called him. Flop comes out, queen jack 10. So I flop top and bottom. I hate the hand, though,
Right.
because I can't beat pocket jacks now. You know, if he has pocket kings, he's open-ended. And if he has ace king, I'm drawing dead almost.
Right.
I mean, I have obviously full house draw, but...
Gus raised there with 8-9 offsuit, and he.
But obviously, there's the vulnerabilities of those kind of hands. Even 2 pairs, not really that good. You're really looking for a straight, like you said.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, it's funny here. I was looking on the 2+2 thread, and Barry Woods representing the thread here. He's there giving Surf on Illini some advice. Actually, some pretty good advice, saying that if you just play a solid, albeit grinding game in Las Vegas, manage your bankroll, and quit when you're no longer a favorite to win that day, you should do well. With your talent and patience, picking the right casino, right game and table, you should do quite well. In fact, the hardest part will be game selection, not beating it. Good advice. How the hell would you know, Barry Woods? That's my question. I mean, it's kind of like I just.
well, Barry's a smart guy. He just
I-
likes to play. I think he likes to challenge himself. I don't think he... Oh, wow, 7...
9-7-9 here. We got Jack 9 here for Garland.
Trip 9s,
He's going to come out and bet.
and nobody's going to call us.
You know,
Pretty tight table.
I almost think, yeah, this table is probably not the best table that you
It's actually
ever
great
play on.
advice. Game selection
It is.
definitely is probably the most important thing for Surf and Illini when he goes to Vegas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Garland is the type, and I like the guy. I almost think that sometimes he just plays this game too tight, Dave. I never think that you can play, like, limit too tight. I mean, as we saw last night, he was on the show, but tonight, I would assume that Gus is going to table captain tonight. I mean, he's usually good at adjusting it to the table. As you probably, or I would probably be the table captain of a table like this. You know?
Well, you just look at the table. I mean, the problem with Garland's play, and I know Garland watches this, and it's one of the reasons I'm going to say this. The problem with Garland's play is that he so frequently gets out of line
Yeah.
that I wouldn't
So
call him
infrequently
so
gets out of line?
infrequently gets
Yeah,
out of line.
yeah.
Thank you. He, you know, if the flop comes out with 2 9s and he bets,
Yeah.
I throw away top pair. I'm just not going
Right.
to give him any action. There's
Right.
no way. I mean, for him to get action from me, he's got to get set over set on me.
Now, Sylvester, he's also probably going to push this table. He raised with pocket 4s.
Now, having said that, I mean, Garland can beat a lot of other players because a lot of other players are not paying attention.
Right. Well, yeah. Roy here is call with queen 10. And the flop comes out 9-9-8, and Sylvester's in the lead here. Now, Roy is over cards with a gut shot to the jack.
If he knows his overcards are good, he could probably call this or even raise it. The problem is, how does he know that, though? He's also out of position.
Sylvester bats and takes it down. You know, it's so funny. Right before you got here, you know, that hand I said I was 2 outed on. This guy, you know, he was kind of a little bit short stacked. I would play real aggressive. I'd picked up a lot of hands. And I picked up queens in a straddle pot, and I raised it to 90 in the 5-10 game. He calls, and another guy calls. Flop comes 7-5-3. He checks to me. I bet 200. He says, I'm all in. He check raises me 500 more. for a 700 total.
Right.
The other guy folds, and I sit there and I'm like, you have pocket jacks? Try to get a read on him. And I was like, I call.
Did you get a physical read?
Turns a blank, river's a jack, and he turns over pocket jacks.
And speak of the devil.
And there it is. Sam's got pocket jacks. And that one, again, that was a $2,000 swing right there. Ooh. Mean swing.
Yeah, those swings, people don't realize. They go, I lost $1,000 in the head. No, you didn't lose 1,000. You lost 2,000. Because you lost his money also.
Sam takes it down there.
But you
with
would have
pocket
won.
Jacks. We had a post here earlier on
Yeah.
by J-Ham. He says, what do you like better, the 6 max or the full ring? And I assume he's talking about online because you don't really have 6 max live cash games, although they do 6 max tournaments as we were
They
looking at
do.
the
Yeah,
World
really
Series.
excited, actually.
Because a lot of times, I've been reading about this. I always congregated to the full ring games online just because I didn't think you had to necessarily pay attention as much. And I was more used to a full ring game. But the more and more I read, I think maybe I should start trying to make the change because the good live cash game players online say it's less players you have to keep track of. And, of course, you see more hands. So it's, kind of a...
I mean, you've gotten to the point where you're a relatively aggressive player. I would imagine shorthanded play would go into your style pretty well.
I just always had trouble keeping up with 4 at a time, 6-handed, whereas 4 at a time as a full ring game was pretty easy.
Top pair for Sam. Not much of a kicker, but he's going to throw $20 in there. Roy's going to get rid of it, and I can't imagine Sam calling this, and Sam
Ryan.
doesn't. Ryan, thank you.
Yeah, and he folds.
Second pair, and Sam takes it down.
So, of course, tomorrow night we'll see Barry Woods, I'm sure, at
25-50 game.
25-50 level, yeah.
Yeah, I know Mo is
Caps.
returning from Dubai tomorrow. I don't think he'll be in the bike tomorrow, but he's coming back on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I think next week I want to say we're going to start doing pot limit hold'em on Thursdays.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a 5-10 pot limit hold'em game.
And is Mo going to be in charge of putting that game
Yeah,
down?
he wants to.
He wants to do that?
He wants to. He wants to put down a pot limit hold'em game on Thursdays.
So he's going to be in
5-10.
charge of 3 nights?
I guess so. This is actually his choice. So what he wants to do is he obviously spreads a 25-50 game on Wednesdays, a 5-10 pot limit game on Thursday, and then the 10-20. I actually thought our show kind of was lacking when the 5-10 game wasn't there. I thought it needed it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done a 5-10 game in here in a while.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We see the jump from this or the 10-20. And the 5-10 game, especially for you, that's your bread and butter right now.
Gus raised it with pocket 9s. Garland called with the Jack 10 suited, and Tyler's in there with Ace King.
See, now Garland's pre-flop. I don't mind calling with Jack 10. That's fine. The problem is, though, Garland would never make a play on this hand.
Right.
You know? If Garland were to smooth call this and then raise the turn, you could pretty much bet your left nut that he's got a 6.
Now,
Or a set of 4s.
Tyler there has just called, and look at this, he hits the ace.
And I gotta say, I don't hate the call by Tyler.
Well, he might be able to represent a 6, and he has a hand which is basically a draw. He's got overcards.
Well, is he necessarily behind also? Remember, Gus raised. You have
Right.
ace king. Couldn't Gus be raising with ace jack, king queen, all sorts of hands? Now you're in position. You can also, oftentimes, you can call in position representing. He might have gotten 2 free cards for that.
And there isn't a whole lot that
Yeah.
Gus can beat out here now.
I mean, it's funny. It's one of those spots where oftentimes you go, man, you shouldn't be calling with overcards. It's hard to give Gus credit for an overpair.
Right.
He raises an awful lot. Barry says on 2+2 says, hey, Bart, no one wants to hear about your bad beats. Talk about Asian nipples.
And look at this Gus. He's going to check raise all in, but I don't think can ace king go anywhere. I mean, you got to be only scared of aces here, right? A set of aces. I mean, Gus is check raised all in. I mean, if you have ace king here,
You could just go with 6.
I guess. I mean,
Why not? Gus wouldn't raise the 7-6?
From early position,
We were playing
maybe.
the other night. Remember I raised
He
8-6?
calls.
I was shocked.
Tyler calls.
Well, I mean, I think you're going to call, but Gus
Yeah.
easily could have a 6 here also.
All I'm saying is that Gus is under the gun. Now, it's a lot different in late position.
Right,
He's
I
under
understand.
the gun. I mean, you don't do a lot of raising with 8-6 suited under the gun, do you?
No, generally it
Yeah,
is.
you know, I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, I guess maybe if you had a 6 there for some reason, you might bet the flop, and once you get called, you might kind of smell that the guy is what the guy might be trying to do, because if you do have a 6, chances that he has a 6 is slim, and then when the ace comes, it's actually a perfect check raise card.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I'm not going anywhere with ace king there.
No, not against Gus.
Yeah. There's no way.
Gus has got the 6. Hey, all the power to you, buddy.
Yeah. But even if it's a solid player, can you go anywhere with ace-king? The only thing you lose to, if you dismiss the fact that he doesn't raise with any hand with a 6 in it under the gun or pocket 4s, is 2 aces, right?
Yeah, it's real difficult because the problem is you start thinking about it going, well, if it's a solid player who rarely gets out of line, well, with that solid player who rarely gets out of line, be raising under the gun with a 6 in his hand.
Right. Now, Roy's got pocket queens here in seat 2.
I mean, you'd have to say, wow, this guy got pocket aces. I mean, you don't almost look at the same hands, right? I think he has ace-king also.
Make it 30.
Roy is going to raise here to 30. I think Gus might be disgusted because I think Gus says, oh, I had the right read on the guy because he didn't have anything on the flop, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the problem with 9s in that spot is when you get called and you're out of position, might you check the turn? You never know, even if a jack comes off or a queen comes off, and you end up giving somebody with ace-king a free card.
Right.
Well, I see you're taking a lot of grief on 2+2 right away, and I knew you would the second you started telling people.
It's not like I come
beat.
in here and talk about bad beat stories every day.
No.
God. I'm just saying.
I talk about bad beat. I like to talk about bad beat stories that I give people.
The point is that variance is sometimes a killer in these games.
They're good beats.
Button moves over here to seat 2.
Now, see, Ray says it best. Ray said, Dave sucks out while Bart gets sucked out on. Very
It's
simple.
so funny. You always seem to get into these situations, Dave, where a bunch of guys have always called you from up front, and then you feel like you need to make a call because the pot odds are laying you like 10-1 at the end on the river with like 4th pair. It always seems to be that way. I remember a guy turned over pocket 9s. He bet the river, and there was like an ace, a queen, and a king on board. You called the river, and he was still good with pocket 9s.
The bet didn't make any sense to me. I was going, I just didn't see anybody. Why would anybody bet that hand? You know what I mean?
Look at this. We got a flop straight here, the bottom end of it for Ryan. And so does Sam. Sam and Ryan both have the ass end of the straight here. 10, 9, 8 with a couple clubs. $60 bet here by Sam. And I assume Ryan's probably going to check raise all in here.
And neither player has a free roll at all. Neither player has a club.
I mean, with his stack size, I think you do move all in here.
Raise.
Yeah. And, you know, the other guy is probably going to call with these stack sizes also.
Yeah, neither player's that deep.
Yeah. Well, Ryan makes it 100 more. He keeps himself $40 left. I don't know why, but
That's the image I want, man. I'm telling you. You can't bluff me out. I call everything.
and this one's going to get chopped up here.
Yeah.
Turns to 3.
It's one of those hands that looks really exciting on the table, but for us, it's not really that exciting.
No. Straight. Chop it up.
He's sick. That is sick.
Get a quick question to start the night from Mark. It says, hey guys, you have stressed the importance of table image, especially at a no-limit table. My question is there anything you can do when you just sit down at a table to improve your table image immediately? Well,
I think it depends on also what you think is improving your table image.
Yeah,
What does that mean
exactly,
right?
It's more important. It's not necessarily important to improve your table image. It's more important to know what your table image is.
What you are trying to portray. Because I know that you sometimes show down a lot of garbage bluffs at first. You know, to try to get that table image of kind of like that young punk.
Yeah, it depends on the table I'm playing at, right?
Right.
If I'm playing at a real passive table, I want to be the guy who's bluffing, so I get some action, maybe. But if I'm playing at a table with some guys who are really aggressive, maybe I want to play really tight in ABC and real solid, so I can make some bluffs later on.
We had a raise here by seat 8, Jeff, pocket 4s. He makes it 25 to go. Gus is called. He's called on the button with King Jack offsuit, and Sam's in there with 7-9 of clubs. Here we go, 3-way action.
Well, he's got his jack.
But look
Sam's,
at
wow, what a
Sam's
hand for Sam here.
Open-ended straight draw.
Open-ended with a
flush
flush,
draw.
yeah. And you can see Sam is actually a favorite.
Now,
And these are the kind of edges that in No Limit Hold'em, I think you need to have the balls to push these kind of edges.
absolutely. I think this is a clear-cut raise here.
Oh, I have no problem. I got to tell you, with that kind of draw there, I have no problem putting all my money in the pot against any hand.
Absolutely. I mean, the only hand, and he is going to raise. He's going to make it 170. The only hand that you actually don't want to see even though you're not that much of a dog against, is a set here, like a set of jacks
That
or a
or
set of eights.
ace-6 of clubs.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to see that.
Well, you don't want to see ace-king of clubs either, ace-queen of
Right,
clubs.
right.
But against any of those hands, you're not,
No.
that big of a dog. And against an overpair,
And you've got to realize there's
you
huge
love
fold
to
equity.
push. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, if I push with 9-7 of clubs here, and a guy with aces calls me, I mark it down in my little book, and I know,
God.
great.
Yeah.
Anytime I flop a set on this guy, I'm going to make all
Or like a guy with like 2 red aces calls there. Or how about a guy with queens calls? That's
Sure enough,
the,
Sam does raise it and takes it down.
that is the actually the turn would have been a 4. The guy would have been a set of 4s. I mean, that's the absolute worst. When people don't really, as you move up in no limit hold'em, there are other hands that queens lose to
Yeah.
on that flop. If you find heat from that flop and you have 2 red queens, I just don't know how you necessarily continue.
Well, it was funny last night. Since you were telling a bad beat story, I'll tell a good beat story. It was last night. I have that image where I'm pushing a lot on my draws, but I also push when I hit my sets and stuff, and that's the kind of things we preach. I also practice that. And sure enough, I was pushing on my draws, and a couple people raised me out, and they were, I guess they thought I had somewhat of a gambler image at the table.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I flopped the set later on, and I bet the entire way. The guy raised me. I re-raised him. He thought I had nothing. Maybe I had a flush draw. Sure enough, he had an overpair. He had aces or kings, and I had a set.
Now we have a raise here by seat number 2, Roy. He's got big slick offsuit. He makes it 25 to go with ace-king. Now Sylvester's going to call with that suited connector there. Nice little 7-8 of clubs on the button. And Sam is in there with a dominated ace-9 of diamonds. And here we go to the flop. Look at this flush draw here for Sam, and Roy's got top pair.
Yeah, this is the classic. Now, this is one of those times with Sam, if he thinks that he's got an overcard is good or his flush draw is good, he can really push because he has 12 outs. But in this case, his ace is no good.
$50 bet here by Roy. Bets about 2/3 of the pot. And Sam here looks like he is going to check raise. Is it? Did he check raise? No,
No,
he
he
just
just
called.
called.
Excuse me. Turn is a 4.
Now, might you put out a little blocker bet here if you're Sam? You're not sure if Roy can pick up on this. Maybe you put out, say, a $60 bet. Try to name your price. Or do you just check and are you apt to fold?
110?
Well, he checks, and $110 bet here by Roy.
I'm not sure if you have the odds to this. Now, if you hit a diamond, you've got to think, do I have the implied odds? Is Roy going to pay me off?
And the ace is not good.
Right.
Now, he's drawing to the nut flush, obviously. But
That's funny. Now, oftentimes if you have queen jack here, you hit a 9 or an ace, you're good, and you can represent diamonds. But the other way around, rarely does it work. You can't usually represent the straight,
Sam is out of there.
and Sam throws it away. I see it all the time with table images. The funniest thing is, we watch it on the show where people have the worst table image in the world. I mean, they've been bluffing all night, yet they continue to do it. They don't change gears.
Right.
And they expect somebody to actually lay down a hand. It's like Corporation Mike when he says, how do you call that? You just laugh at Mike, and you go, Mike, you bet every hand. What do you expect?
Got an email here from Barry Woods. He says, I got to go eat, so don't be dissing me while I'm gone. Jeff in seat 8 is probably one of the best players there. Watch my boy. He, Gus, and I are part of the same home game. Very solid, smart player. Well, take that for what it's worth from Barry Woods. Because, again, his idea of solid, smart player might be a little bit
Well, I'm wondering, it's funny. They were
I'm just
inviting
kidding,
me to
Barry.
get, they were going to invite me to that home game, and I was looking at the players that were going to be in the game, and I'm going, oh, I guess Barry's live.
Queen 4 Jack here.
Did he actually write in the email too? Don't be dissing me.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh man, God, Barry, you're dating yourself, dude.
JR here, he's bet here with a open-ended straight draw from the button, and Garland is called with the bottom end of a straight draw with a heart draw that turns an ace, and JR gets there and it goes check. Does it go check, check? Wow, the river's a 4. I mean, JR, and he actually induced Garland to bluff, it looks like, and just a call. I mean, the funny thing there is JR bets the flop.
I think JR was scared of the diamonds.
He gets there on the turn, and
Garland checked it. JR checked it also.
JR checked right behind. I mean,
JR was in just check call mode, I
I
guess.
just sometimes think, though, without a diamond in your hand, maybe if you've got king of diamonds, 10 there, you could check it.
I
Without
agree.
a diamond in your hand, it's just...
I'd rather put a little money in
Yeah.
there. I mean, what if Garland's got the 9 of diamonds there, and he just wins it? on
Right,
some
right, yeah. Button's going to move over here to seat 6, Garland. P.S. Can't wait to see Melissa on Thursday.
There you go. My lovely wife came back today.
From New York, huh?
Yes.
Oh.
Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 5. This is a restricted buying game. You can buy in anywhere from 300 to 500. Gus is going to make it $15. Sylvester's going to call 15, and they have the same hand. And it's going to go, wow. Well, the solid player that Barry just said, Jeff, is really solid in seat number 8. He just called the raise with Jack 7 in the blind.
Well, ace 5-7 here. Now, Gus and Sylvester have the same hand. And I believe that Gus brought this one in for a raise, and Sylvester called. And this is the problem with ace 10 here. I hate ace 10, Dave. I just don't know necessarily if Sylvester can continue on here. He folds.
Yeah. And Jeff gets rid of it as well.
And the other thing, too, is it's almost, I almost think, well, I guess you could call and see what Gus does. You could also raise, but then if Gus calls you, you really just want to be done with the hand, and you probably put in more money when you're behind. It's just a real tough hand to play.
Yeah, it really is. If Sylvester calls there, I mean, Gus can't like his hand either.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Probably still be checking.
But moves over here to seat number 7.
That means dynamite.
I'd rather call in the blind with Jack 7 than Ace 10.
I didn't see your face.
You'd rather call in the blind with Jack 7 than Ace 10?
Absolutely.
Why? You can flop the nuts with Ace 10. You can't flop the nuts with Jack 7.
Yeah, but I got to figure if a guy raises and there's another guy in between.
What do you want to
then
hit
Ace
with
10
Jack
is
7?
garbage. That Ace 10 is garbage. I don't like Jack 7 either, but I'm saying I'd actually rather have that hand. Jack 7 suited. Jack 7 suited. I mean, Jack 7 offsuit, there isn't a whole lot of value to that. King 6 deuce here with a couple hearts.
I'm
Gus
not
has
a
got
fan of
flush
either
draw.
hand, but I will take Ace 10 every... Jack 7, I mean, Jack 7 is one of the biggest garbage hands you can have. I have no idea. What do you want to flop? 8, 9, 10? So you can lose to Jack Queen?
Check raise here by Ryan. He's got top 2 pair, and Gus calls him with a flush draw. Turns an ace.
Well, Gus has picked up more outs. He needs a Jack now or a heart.
And I think Ryan might be a little bit concerned maybe of ace king here, but he's not that deep.
He looks constipated.
He's going to bet 125. He's pretty much pot committed himself here. And again, Gus has got a flush draw and a gut shot to the jack here.
This game is it's rarely deep enough in this game where
Yeah.
you're getting away from 2 pair.
And Ryan's put out a bet that's pretty much a pot-sized bet, so Gus is only getting 2-1 with no real implied odds. I mean, Ryan has, I guess, another 100 left, but I just don't think that Gus can make this call.
Gus knows he's probably getting that 100 if he hits his hand. But you're probably right. I mean, you've got to call 125 to win 225 and whatever's in the pot.
Right.
So you're basically calling 125 to win, what, 350?
350, yeah. I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, you're getting less than 3 to 1 on your money.
Yeah.
Now, Gus has got to know that his heart or a jack are probably good, so he's got 12 outs. Yeah.
Now, we were talking about the amount of money that you win, the most amount of money, no limit, is, when you kind of back into a straight when you had a flush draw. This game was a deep game, and these guys were real deep, and Gus makes this call, and now all of a sudden the river's a jack.
Jack of clubs.
And Ryan can't get away from, say, what is either a set of sixes or sometimes a cagey set of kings if he smooth called Gus and the blind heads up with, say, kings.
I submit all the time. It's a great play. If somebody has here like ace-king,
right,
and they're scared of the hearts,
yeah,
and the river comes a jack of clubs, and that guy had queen 10,
yeah,
it's going to be a big pot.
yeah,
And I always say bet big there because the guy will not put you on the straight.
right.
More likely, he'll actually think you got busted out and you missed your draw.
Mr. Flush draw, yeah.
Luckily you don't have the ace flush draw. Then you call.
Let's take a look at the first chip count of the night here.
Yeah, just about $5,000 on the table. Tyler's got the most. He's got $930 after he doubled up off Gus. Ryan bringing up the rear with only $250. Did win that pot, so he's probably up to about $350 now. And let's see how they're doing. Tyler up $430. Roy up $350. Gus and Jeff are bringing up the rear. Gus down $450 already. Now we got a raise out of seat number 4.
Yep.
It was actually Sylvester raised it up with Jack 9 of hearts,
Got a
and
few
he flopped the
followers.
flush.
Yep. Flops the flush. Now Gus has got the nut flush draw.
This is also a hand that I think people really, really overrate. Gus's hand. The king of hearts here, yes, you are drawing to the nuts.
It's not hidden.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Are you going to make any money on this if a 4th flush card comes out there? I mean, there's really 0 implied odds.
I mean, the thing that you might think is that if you call one time and Sylvester doesn't have a great hand, you might actually see 2 cards.
Right.
Now let's see what Gus is just going
I
to.
mean, the other
Gus
problem
is
also
gonna
is
call.
some people will say, well, you can raise with it, can't you? Yeah, but you're only going to get called by a hand that's got you beat.
Oh, that turns the 8 of hearts.
Now, Sylvester does have outs. If Gus slow plays this and a 10 of hearts were to come off,
Right. See how Gus checks.
And I got to tell you, I take the card if I'm Sylvester.
Really?
I do. What do you think Gus has?
He checks. Well, he needs the 10 of hearts here. Nope. Does pair the board.
Gus is going to bet this.
And now do you have to call? Maybe Gus is trying to bet right in at 3 aces here. I mean, have you induced this bluff here? You do have the basically what is the 3rd nut flush
Yeah.
here. But now the board
And
is
you just got to think
paired.
of what did Gus call me with?
He bet 60. He's really...
The river even more.
He's bet 75, actually.
In the river is even more.
He's trying to get, a call here by Sylvester.
Third sucks. River sucks. The club is excellent.
I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, I do make some calls, and Sylvester's going to call this. I make some questionable calls sometimes when the hand doesn't make sense to me, and I try to replay it in my head, and I go, this guy's either got nothing or a monster. It just doesn't make any sense. And sometimes I'll call there. But in the case here, rarely will I call when there's a 4 flush out there and I don't have the nuts. I can pick better spots.
Now, say, for example, Sylvester had flopped the queen high flush there, and now the heart comes on the turn. Is it a little bit more difficult to lay it down on the river?
I mean, I guess a little bit more, but it doesn't really change anything. You've got to think, what did Gus check and then call me with? I mean, my only thought is if Gus has got an ace,
You calling me with?
he's probably betting his ace
You know you bet that is.
because he doesn't want to give a free card off.
Huh? I said if you had an ace.
Button's going to move over here to seat 9. Ryan.
Not much out there. We got pocket 5s for JR in seat 5. Going the speed limit.
The old speed limit, right?
Kind of excited. You and I are we printed out the World Series of Poker schedule this year, and you and I are kind of highlighting the events we want to play.
Right. JR's going to limp in here with pocket 5s.
Something about the World Series, man, I tell you.
Well, they have really cut down on the non-Hold'em events. I mean, there are 3 Omaha high-low events and 1 stud high-low event. And that has kind of been a complaint amongst some other people. Limped around here, ace 7, 8. Now, Roy looks to have actually, Sam's got an ace here. He's got ace 4. And he's going to come out and bet a little bit here. From the blind.
Imagine he'll take it down.
He bets 20.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to call this.
Yeah.
JR's pretty tight. I love these couple posts here. David Lopan on 2+2 says, he's quoting me, "You can't bluff me out, I call everything." He says, "Tuckman's a fish." I love that. That's perfect. And that's the image. I love that image. It's a great image to have. That and kind of like a punk ass, you know?
Yeah, you get the backwards hat going
Exactly.
on. Going
Punk
up,
ass.
going
Like,
on.
yo, what's up? Yeah. Okay. And then I love Baron's post here. Ways to improve your table edge. And this is actually pretty smart. He says, hey, order a drink. Ask your neighbor if you can order him a drink so you can get around the
One drink
the one
per player
drink per
rule.
player rule. And he says, you're welcome. And it actually, sometimes, if you just do something like that, they just assume that you're not a pro. If you sit down at the table, and even if you are a professional poker player, sometimes you don't want to bring your little book that you keep your records
Right,
on
right.
and write it down,
Right.
okay? And sit down and act all studious and act like a pro. Act like you're having fun.
I got to tell you one other thing, too, is that if you take a look at my wallet, now JR brought this one in for a raise, the ace-queen offsuit. If you take a look at my wallet, if you ever look in Caro's book of tells, this is a sloppy-ass wallet, too.
What's on the other side of this? Is it a condom?
No, it's a spare key.
Oh.
Looks kind of
I thought it was a condom. I was like, what is that?
No, but I mean, you know,
Sloppy ass wallet,
have you ever
right.
seen like Caro's thing?
Yeah.
Like if anyone comes like all like, you know,
Sloppy.
sloppy, they're like a gambler and like they're all loose. And
Right.
I've just traditionally always been disorganized. It's not really just something that came hand for hand.
Right. But it all depends on what kind of image you're looking for. I mean, some people
Right.
you look at like a Dan Harrington. He's actually striving for the opposite image. He wants to look like he's squeaky tight, so he can pick up a pot here or there later on.
Right.
That's more of a tournament type thing. To me, in a cash game, I think you've got to have a little bit of a gamble image, otherwise you won't get any action.
If you win the World Series, you never have to pay another entry fee.
Got a raise here to 20 by seat number 1 with 6-4 spades. Gus has got jacks here in the blind, and he's going to raise.
Yeah, I like this play here by Gus. He's raising a late position raiser.
But I got to tell you, this is the situation. These are the situations I love when you're in position with a hand like
easy.
this
You
heads
call
up.
this. Depending on how deep he is, and it looks like it's pretty deep, and Gus is deep. I say, why not call?
Well, he didn't call. Well, I mean, if Gus made it, say, 80 to go there, and he has 500 behind, I don't mind the lay down. I mean,
Was it 80 to go? I
Yeah,
thought it was
something
60
like
to
that.
go.
But usually in a deeper game, it's a great spot to be in, and obviously the power of position is just so huge
Yeah.
because there's so many scare cards you can use. I mean, a lot of times if somebody's raising out of the blind, yeah, they might be doing it with ace-king, but more often than not, it's probably a big pocket pair, and you might be able to use an ace to give them a lot of heat to get them off of the hand.
Exactly.
What's the odds? Am I the
The only problem with this game and making moves like that is sometimes the player's almost pot committed. I'll give you an
Right.
example. Let's say he raises with jacks. Let's say you call with 6-4 thinking, okay, if an ace comes up, I'm going to represent. Now an ace comes off. And Gus puts out a little continuation bet.
Yeah, this year's 7,500 or 8,000.
Now you're in a spot where Gus has got enough money involved that he might not even get away from jacks there. You never know, depending on how much money he's
It
got
depends
left.
on how much money there is. Now look at this. JR's got pocket queens here in the big blind, and he's going to raise.
Obviously in deep stack poker, I can get somebody off jacks pretty easy.
They weren't even ready on event two. The cashier wasn't ready. For the $1,500 event, they weren't ready. I stood in line for 3 hours, and the line started at the door.
Well, there you go.
I paid my $1,500.
Mikey Patriot on 2+2 is saying he just stacked somebody with Jack 7 suited, so clearly Jack 7 is better than Ace 10. Thank you, Mikey.
JR's raised. And JR is actually complaining about last year's World Series. If you heard him at the table talking about how, I got to tell you, when I went in there to try to enter the first event last year, the casino employees event, I was an hour and a half late getting to the tournament because everyone was in line for the next day's event, which is the $1,500 event. It was mass chaos at the Rio last year. Hopefully they're going to have more than 1 or 2 windows open the first
Well,
couple
they
of
will.
days.
It's also smart. Now, the first day is June 26th, right?
Right.
Which would mean if you wanted to play in that Monday event or the Tuesday event, which is a $1,500 event, which is going to be crazy. If you want to play in those events, you really should get there like the Friday before,
Yeah.
come down for the weekend, relax, buy yourself a drink, and, really buy in on Saturday.
Yeah.
There was one that was close. I mean, if you did
Sylvester's going to raise here with Ace 10 off suit on the button, and he's going to take it down.
right around the corner.
I was just browsing through the schedule. It looks like you're going to head down on possibly July 1st for a couple of events. I know you want to play the Omaha High-Low split events.
I do.
I think you should play them all. I think you're crazy if you don't. The way you play Omaha, you've been running really good with that. I think you should play them all.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily want to fork over $5,000 for the big one.
Play satellite.
No, I know.
They have satellites around. I mean, satellites are huge there.
Yeah, I'm going to play in those, and I'm going to try to play as many no-limit Hold'em ones.
So
as
much
we
dead
can.
money in those satellites.
Oh, 'cause it was crazy getting nailed.
And not only that, but it was just so kind of wild,
And they do have, different game satellites.
Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly. You play Omaha satellite if you want.
Gus is going to raise us up with King, Queen suited here.
Although the no-limit satellites are probably a little liver.
Yeah.
The buffet. By the time you walked to the buffet, they break the door.
And seat 8 here is with 8, 9, and diamonds.
Yeah.
Here we go to the flop.
Jack 9-3. And looks like Jeff's out-flopped them both. That's not a terrible flop for King Queen. Gus has got overcards. He's got a gut shot plus backdoor hearts.
And he's going to drive 100 here. He's betting the size of the pot.
Yeah, and I like this bet. I
Wow,
really
and
do.
Jeff is going to check call here with 8, 9.
And the problem with this now, Gus can take 2 free cards if he wants. And there's a queen right off
Earns
the
a
bat.
queen. Now Jeff picks up a straight draw and a flush draw. And Gus has hit top pair.
Yeah, but his straight draw is no good. If the 10 comes, Gus has got the king high straight.
Right.
So he needs a diamond an 8 or a 9 to win this pot.
And he's going to throw a $150 bet into a $300 pot here. And you can sometimes call it kind of a little bit of a, it might be a little bit of a blocker bet in a deeper game, but Jeff is pretty much, and he committed himself. He's only got 300 left. That's what we talk about in this game.
And if Gus moves all in, you almost look at it and go, well, 300 left to win a $900 pot. I'm getting 3-1. If you think your 10 is good also, you almost have to call.
Now, what would he call a flop with and now lead into me on the turn when a queen comes
How
out?
about 10-8? Jack Queen?
For some reason, I always see a tendency for guys, if they're going for 10-8 and they make it on the turn,
They'll probably check
they'll
again.
check raise the turn.
Generally.
They won't bet right on the
Yeah.
turn.
It's not what you and I would do.
No,
but
it's definitely not what you and I do, but we always see it, though.
People do have.
Now, if Jeff is supposedly solid, like Barry Wood says, you might give him credit for that move here.
How about Ace Jack of Diamonds?
That could also be true.
Or
Now,
Ace 9 of Diamonds?
Gus is beating both of those hands right now.
Ace 9 of Diamonds picks up a diamond draw, wants to slow it
Right.
down a little bit. Now, when we do this at home, if you're new to the show, when Bart and I start thinking of hands, obviously we know what Jeff has.
Right.
But we're trying to get inside Gus's head here. And you start thinking of, okay, the guy called my raise pre-flop. I bet that flop. He called me, and now he's betting out at me. Now, that's a play sometimes I'll actually do with a jack. Especially if I have Ace Jack of Diamonds, I might make this play.
I mean, he also could have Queen Jack. And I think it might get Gus off the hand here.
Well, he realizes there's no fold equity here. I think he might be worried that he's drawing dead. He's obviously a 2-1 favorite here. It's one of the reasons I like the bet by Jeff. I mean, he's put himself in a spot where he's named his price to see the river if he gets called. And if he doesn't get called, hey, obviously there's some fold equity there.
And he's going to make the call here, and this pot is quickly $600. And you can, did you pick up that on Jeff? Look at that, the river's a 7. Jeff kind of rolled his eyes, looked like he was displeased with Gus calling him. I mean, he did not look pleased there if you took a look at his face.
Can you pick up these things on the internet? No, you can't. That's why I like live.
And now Jeff is going to be forced to bluff at it, but I don't know, do you just shut down and give up now? I mean, you've got $250 left, the pot is $600. I mean, is there any way you could ever get a guy off of a hand now he's called?
I got to tell you, I mean, obviously it's easy for us. We see the cards, but you got to look at it and go, man, I had diamonds, so I don't think he's on a draw. If he had queen 10, he's got a queen now.
I checked.
Yeah.
You have an overpair? I said I check, and then I said you have an overpair.
And it goes check, check.
Yeah, and Gus is going to win this.
I like the check there by Jeff at the end.
Yeah, you got to sometimes you just got to give up.
Yeah.
Some people will say you got to bet at it. You can't leave your chips out there. $250 into a $600 pot. You're not getting Gus. Gus made the decision to call there.
He made the call on the turn. Now you're going to bet $250 all in on the river. So it's going to be $250 to call for an $850 pot.
And the 7 was worthless, obviously, because if he had 1080, he already had the straight anyway.
Right. Interesting hand, though. Button's going to move over here to seat 6, Garland.
And Barrett Boy on 2+2 says here, what I was asking before was essentially, do you want to have a good or bad image at first? I suppose having a bad table image at first, maybe raising the first 3 or 4 hands would really loosen the table up and make you seem more like a fish. From there, you could change gears, slow it down a bit, and take advantage of your crappy image. It really matters, like all poker questions, it depends on what kind of game you're playing at. If I'm in a game with like Dimitri and Jay and Corporation Mike, you know, I'll just go in there and play it straightforward and play it really ABC. You know, pick my spots.
Sylvester's going to bring this one in with a queen jack off suit here from the cutoff.
I mean, if I think the table is playing too tight and I want to loosen it up, yeah, I might try to loosen it up. But
Garland's going to call with 9-10 of diamonds. Tyler's in there with jack 10 of hearts. And seat 8 is in there with queen jack of diamonds. Wow. Everybody's got the same hand here.
Pretty much.
Small bet, 5 call.
And there's a 10.
Ace 10 deuce. So Tyler has the best hand, but Sylvester's going to, he's going to continue forward. He's got a gut shot straight draw.
I think he's going to win this.
He bet 60. I can't imagine that Garland's going to get involved.
Yeah, and Tyler's done. That's not a flop with jack 10 of hearts.
Nope.
Nice aggressive bet by Sylvester and takes it down.
Seat number 8 is rebuying, 300 behind. You can bring your stack up to $500 anytime in this game. There it is. You know Fish, right? Phish.
Of course, yeah. Great.
Are you a big jam band fan? Did you ever go up to Loring Air Force Base up in Maine?
I did.
You know,
no.
you know what I'm
never-
talking about?
I do.
though,
I
right?
do. I never went up there.
God,
no.
please, somebody shoot me. And I saw people going up there. God, jam band. Crap.
My brother-in-law is actually a huge, huge fish fan.
The string cheese incident. Queen Jack here for seat 5. I don't know. Isaac's giving me weird looks. He might be a jam band fan. $20 raise here by JR with Queen Jack off suit.
See?
So Ryan doesn't work here anymore?
I don't believe so.
No.
No.
Was he a green chip prop?
No, he was yellow chip prop for like 2 weeks.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was 20 prop.
Wow.
You know, I'm just not a. You know, jam bands, like, you go to the concert and they play a song for like 35 minutes and it just never ends. And like I said, it's just like, someone just shoot me now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, it's like. Button moves over here to seat 8. I gotta tell you, I was never a huge fan of Grateful Dead for that same reason too. I mean, they had their own thing going on, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
like a culture in its own. The thing that I love about the Grateful Dead, which is just so cool, is I love the fact that you can go to a Grateful Dead concert and you see, like, all people from different ways of life all merging together for Jerry and the band. And it's just, you know what I mean? That's cool.
Ryan's got Ace King of Hearts. Weren't there like little factions of like rich kids that went around traveling around?
yeah.
Like they were called like.
My father's partner's son. They had a lot of money. They literally, this kid he would travel. I think he probably saw them 30 times, just driving around with them.
Trustafarians. Ryan raised here with Ace King of Hearts. Roy is going to call the dominated Ace 9 here. And Tyler's in there with Ace 7 of Diamonds, and Jeff's in there with King 9 of Hearts. So four-way action here, about $125 pot.
There's a monster flop for Ace King of Hearts, isn't it?
Well, Roy and Jeff have flopped. Seat 2 actually has Ace 10, not Ace 9, so Jeff
Okay.
has the best hand. Now, Ryan puts like a pussy-ass bet out into a $125 bet. He bets 25, Dave. I mean, that's pretty weak.
Yeah, that is pretty weak. I gotta tell you, I mean, nothing personal. Ryan seems like a nice guy. I don't really know him, but that's generally, and we're gonna see Jeff here raise this, and Ryan's gonna throw it away. I imagine.
He raises it
I
50.
mean, like, what is he? He's like, look, he's got this like look on his face, like, what's he doing? Yeah, throws it away. Now, this is generally, like I said, don't take this personal. Well, whatever, take it any way you want. I don't care. More often than not, people that prop at any casino, they don't last.
Right.
Because they realize that the pay they get is insignificant to the risk they take at the table.
Well, and the funny thing is that it's not necessarily. I mean, it's not even necessarily that they're bad players. It's just what we came to. I mean, sometimes that is the case, but other times it's just not worth it. To not be able to select your own game.
Well, I'll put this. There's a faction of prop players. There's a faction of players out there, prop players, that end up turning. You know, they're props for a little bit. They realize they can do game selection, and they become professionals. Joe Wynn here actually used to be a prop a long time ago.
Really? Joe Wynn?
Joe Wynn, the guy who he won the 2000 World Series for Stud High Low, and obviously a professional poker player, and he's now moved on.
Ryan open limped on the button with 9-3 of spades.
Well, you wonder if he might be tilting a little bit.
And Roy is going to come out and bet here with nothing.
But more often than not, we see players come in here or come into any casino as props, thinking, "Hey, I love poker. You know, I'm about an even player. Maybe I win a little bit, maybe I lose a little bit. But hey, if the casino is going to pay me to play, I can definitely beat the game."
Right.
You know, and hey, if I'm not good now, I'm sure I'll improve. And they don't realize that when you're playing 8 hours a day or even 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, your mistakes just get magnified. You know, you're playing that many hands, you can't get up and leave. You know, I've seen so many props in the 2.5 years that I've worked here. I've seen so many props come and go within 3 months. And the only reason I say this, I get a lot of private messages from people wondering, hey, how do I get into propping? It seems like such a good gig. Can I do it? And I just say this to dissuade you in the sense, hey, it is a good gig. It's a great job. I really enjoy doing it. Like I say, I kind of think that it was my apprenticeship to becoming a professional poker player. But just make sure if you go into being a prop, go in with your eyes wide open.
Got an email here from Barry Woods. Fuck you, Tuck, and Bart, bite me. Thanks, Barry.
Barry is he's just so witty. You know, how does he come up with that stuff?
Right.
Wow.
Button moves over here
Phenomenal.
to seat 2. Yeah, it's funny. Isaac is passing me the sheet saying that he's going to see Depeche Mode at Coachella. And that's another thing that I never understood, like these outdoor concert type events in the summertime when you can't get access to water. I saw Depeche Mode at Staples Center a couple months ago. That was great.
I don't think Staples is a great venue. I got to be honest.
No, I mean not necessarily a great venue, but
I actually saw a concert in upstate New York. Actually in Albany area.
yeah.
In a park.
You didn't go to like Woodstock '94.
I did, no. But that was really cool because it wasn't that. It was hot, but that wasn't that hot. We brought our own beer and stuff. We had coolers, and it was fun. I mean, we had a good time.
I actually was at the Tibetan Freedom Concert in '98 when lightning hit RFK. I was on the ground.
Were you really?
In RFK,
That's cool.
Herbie Hancock was playing his saxophone. All of a sudden, there's a big electric snap, and that douchebag from REM comes out and says, "We're canceling the concert." Michael Stipe. Yeah.
You're not a Michael Stipe fan?
Look at this. He's folded around again for the third straight time. I mean, REM is cool. I just, he's got too many political views for me. Regardless of what they are, he's just way too outspoken.
Right.
He
Politically
thinks,
incorrect.
He just thinks he's more than he is, which is a lead singer of, a pretty decent band. Please put a zip on it. Live straddle here by seat 7.
The views of Bart are not necessarily shared by. But I'm pumped.
Pocket Queens here for the straddle spot. Nice.
Well, at least they won't get chopped around this one.
Yeah, but it might get folded around.
That's okay.
Well, now that Sylvester and Gus have not voluntarily entered the pot, it might get folded around.
Okay, I'll just elect that.
Gerald.
I'll just mess with you.
Gerald will call. Garland will call.
And Tyler
will raise.
Tyler's going to raise,
Yeah.
Only 20.
Okay.
I got to tell you, that's an almost automatic raise to me. If the small blind and the big blind are just going to tap the table or complete,
We've got,
automatic raise.
got the position on the
Exactly. They've already told me they have nothing.
Checked over to Tyler. JR was in there. Garland folded 5-7.
I mean, I know somebody could be trapping me, but hey, I'll take the chance.
And JR folds. And Tyler takes it down there with pocket queens.
Especially against players like JR and Garland there.
Button moves over here to seat 5. JR.
Ronnie thinks that we should sell pieces of ourselves to the World Series of Poker.
It's funny. I haven't looked around eBay all that much, but supposedly that's going on with certain types.
Is it really? Actually, yeah. I remember Dutch Boyd was doing that, right?
Yeah, I know other players too.
Do they actually find people to buy pieces of him?
I
That
don't
way?
know if
I
it
mean, through
necessarily
eBay?
works.
Wow.
Well, King Queen of clubs here for JR on the button, and Sylvester has Ace 9 of clubs. Now Sylvester's going to raise here. He makes it 30, and I assume that JR is going to call. So his clubs are dominated. And we are going to see it heads up here. Ace 9 against King Queen. Here we go. Jack 4-8. Well, Sylvester stays aggressive. He should take it down. I mean, JR has pretty much missed this flop. Look at Sylvester stroke that chip stack.
A little more information than I need to know. Thank you.
And he bets 50. And look at this. JR's going to call him in position, Dave. Maybe JR's playing the thing, I'll call one time and see what happens. Now the turn's Jack. But Sylvester moves all in. Wow. Unbelievable. He moves all in for 175.
Wow.
Hey, that's going to get it done, I guess. Kind of risky.
Instincts by Sylvester. He knew JR had nothing. He knew JR was on a draw. Rocking and rolling. Do let us know, by the way, we've already got a big board for tomorrow night's 25-50 no-limit game. And if you want to play, let us know. You can call the Bicycle Casino, ask for the Plaza, and ask for Bart or myself. We'll put you on the list.
We already have a new poster here that said he was a rich kid that traveled around fish. I knew I was going to offend somebody with those comments. Jeff's got pocket jacks over here in C8.
Hey, man, hey.
It's just not my cup of tea, man. That's all. I'm not going to say anything.
I don't knock it though.
about you.
Hey, if you're young, you've got money, and you can travel around the country, watching concerts and hanging out with other people. Sounds like a good life to me.
Now, Jeff, he's got jacks.
That hand will get you in trouble.
And Sam raised with 9-7 of diamonds, and Jeff here is going to re-raise out of the blind with jacks. Now, Jeff raised it under the gun. Sometimes you might not re-raise with jacks in the blind there, would you, against an under-the-gun raiser? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, we said it before. I mean, when Gus raised it with jacks, he was raising a cutoff.
Right.
He's also raising to get out the big blind as well. You don't want to
Yeah.
call that induce the big blind to stay in there as well and then
I
go
think
broke.
that some people like overvalue, say, jacks, queens, and sometimes even tens.
The
Not
jacks and
necessarily
tens are
they're
really
nuts,
overvalued.
you know?
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, more often than not, I mean, you've got to realize when you're watching, if you're sitting down at a hold'em game, how often do one pair of jacks or one pair of tens win the hand?
Right.
Well, more often than not, when you start off with one pair of tens or one pair of jacks, that's all you're going to end up with. I mean, the real value of pocket jacks or pocket tens is hitting a set, you know,
Call me Darling.
or trapping somebody who overvalues pocket nines or pocket eights.
Right.
Please don't raise me or else I'm going to go over the top. Yeah, same thing.
Little $10 raise here by Sylvester with pocket sevens. And he gets called in 4 spots. 9-8-4. Look at Tyler's hand. Top pair with a flush draw.
That's a pretty big hand.
And he gets checked around to JR, and he's going to bet with top pair. He's going to bet 40. And again, Tyler, he's going to raise.
Yeah, that's a nice play here.
He's going to make it 100.
Now, if you have a pair and a flush draw, but you share that pair with somebody else, it's not as good. Obviously, it would be better here if he had, say...
Well, you wouldn't be able to have a pair with a flush draw.
Right. I'm saying, let's say that the 8 was the heart and the
Right.
9 was the spade, and he had 10-8. That would actually be better, because then he could catch an 8 also. Here, obviously, another 9 is not an out. Tyler only has 12 outs here. 9 spades and 3 tens. Sometimes when you have a pair and a flush draw, if it's not top pair, you can actually have 15 outs and make me the favorite.
Look at it. It's almost 50-50 here. 48-48
Yeah.
here. Tyler, again, he's got 9 spades. Could catch a 10 as well.
Yeah, Tyler's also got, like, backdoor straight draw possibilities.
And I don't know if JR is going to continue on here with the hand.
Well, it's pretty much, I mean, when you can't consider $10 a raised pot, so it's pretty much limped around. You've got to look at it that way. And this guy could have anything, and he could easily have 2 pair right now.
He's going to call.
And he's pretty much committing himself to that call, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, this pot is about $250 here as we go to the turn. The turn's a 3. That's a nice blank.
Now, if JR checks this, do you take the card if you Tyler?
How about,
Well-
how about JR's not going to give him the opportunity? He's going to move all in. And now the pot is $500, about $250 to call. Tyler's getting about 2-1, and if you put the guy on a 9, you can't make this call.
No, you can't. Well, if you put him on 9-8,
But Tyler calls here without a second thought, and the river's a 6.
yeah.
You know, Dave, I had this discussion with you, again, before the show yesterday, about how sometimes people really overvalue top pair with a flush draw. Because
Well,
it
especially if you don't
still
have a
is
good kicker.
only one pair.
Now, if you have ace-9 of spades there,
Right.
it's much different. Because if somebody else has the 9,
Right.
you've got him out-kicked. The only hand you're really losing to there is 2 pair.
Right.
I mean, I guess seat number 5, JR, could have had a set.
Right.
But if you put him on top pair also, you're okay. But in that case, you couldn't beat Jack 9. In this case, you can't beat King 9.
And again, you know, I don't mean to get on the players, but it seemed to me that Tyler called that too quick, that he did not work out in his head. Like, it was almost like a reactionary call.
Right. You've got to realize that, okay, even if I say my 10 is an out
Right.
and a spade is an out, I've got 12 outs with 1 card to come. I'm
Yeah.
a 3-1 dog, and the pot's only laying me 2-1. Obviously, you don't call that. You're losing money on that call.
And it almost smelled like JR had a big 9, or was playing either 2-pair or a set conservatively and just waiting for a non-spade turn to
Yeah.
come. And then he just moved on the non-spade turn.
I mean, I guess you could look at it, the slight possibility that he has the same hand, 10-9, but I don't think he calls 10-9. I mean, JR hasn't really played many
No.
hands at all.
Yeah. This one gets folded around the blinds, and they're going to chop it up here.
The one that was set over sets.
Sierra, the dealer there, in a nice blue shirt.
With a sucker straight and that's amazing.
Even the one that deals aces and kings.
Yeah, against Corporation Mike.
Bud moves over here to seat number 9.
That's kind of short stack.
Wow, some big words here from Boone.
I know.
Bart,
For that hand.
your comments about Michael Stipe illustrate the problem with today's youth. It's easy to criticize someone for doing, quote unquote, when all of your doing is centered around yourself. Cheers, Boone.
Oh, wow.
Man, some fighting words there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Boone. Appreciate it.
Got a raise here by the cutoff, 10-9 of diamonds. And yeah, every singer out there of a major, rock group is the answer to the world's political problems.
Well, nothing wrong with
Yeah.
somebody having a view, and if theoretically you could say, well, this guy's using his popularity and his fame to try to better the world.
I think what U2 does, what
U2 does.
what Bono does
Right.
for Africa. I think some of those things are great. I just find Michael Stipe just. I mean, there's a big difference, right, Isaac, between Michael Stipe and Bono. Oh, Isaac's giving thumbs down to Bono too. Oh, okay, I wouldn't go so far as to say that.
You need a 7. You need a 7.
Bud moves over here to seat 1.
Got a question here from Baron Bangertoth, and I'm going to get to it in just a second.
Queen Jack of Diamonds here for seat 1 on the button.
No, it's something like 10 deuce 2, 10 deuce 3.
And Garland here is going to raise with King Queen offsuit. Okay, he's going to make it 40. Rather raise that hand than limp with it, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think he's going to take it down.
Yeah. And you know what? With his image, I like it. Why not? Nobody's going to call that.
Obviously, saw the button easily mock Queen Jack of
Yeah.
Diamonds.
Okay, here's a question. Tuck, here's a propping question. Sorry if you've ever covered it. Let's say a guy comes in, he's a prop, and and his shift is 8 hours long. Now he comes in with, say, a couple $1,000, but variance strikes and he loses all his money. What do they do? Well, there's a couple of options, obviously. You want to go through it?
He now has no money on him, but he has money.
Yeah, I'm assuming that was the question. He has no money on him right there. And then.
Well, usually you would get in trouble. I mean, they actually kind of laid down the law about 8 or 9 months ago. When you are on shift, you're expected to play. They'll suspend you if you're not, if they ask you to play and you won't go into a game. I mean, there would be like repercussions.
Usually, I mean, it's not like we deal with Nazi people. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
Hey, if you have a really bad day, let's say you come in with $3,000, you lose all $3,000. You don't have any money in your player's bank. You don't have any, you don't have a live credit line or something to get. Hey, you clock out and you go home. Come back the next day. Obviously you don't get paid for the rest of the day, though.
Exactly.
Now, if it
You're
happens
not gonna get paid.
routinely, obviously you're obviously not gonna stay working here very long, and they probably would fire you after a while.
Right.
But if it happens once in a while, hey.
Button moves over here to seat 4.
I mean, I guess it's the equivalent if you're working in another job and you slip and fall and hurt yourself and you have to go home early.
It's a good, good little comparison, I guess.
Well, that's why I said it.
But oftentimes when we saw, Dave actually propped here for almost another year, an additional year,
Right.
longer than I have. But I saw like at least 10 people come in and out in the year that I was propping, or year and a half I was propping.
And there was probably 24 in the year before that. I mean,
Right.
literally.
Gus is raised here to 30.
I mean, I have a lot of respect for props that can do it for a long time.
Now JR is called with a suited ace-4, and
Good.
Gus has hit top and bottom. Now is JR gonna get involved with this?
That's an ugly flop for JR.
Well, JR's gonna throw out a bet. Maybe he sees if
That's fine.
He's gonna bet 60 here.
That's fine. He's putting about a pot-sized bet out there to see where he's at. Obviously, he's going to find out he's behind.
Now, the problem is that when people do this against aggressive players, like if you were to bet here against a Mike with ace-4, and now Mike raises you, your ace-4 is only a bluff catcher. I mean, you really want to make your stand here with ace-4 out of position,
The
right?
problem also is the board is draw heavy. What happens if Gus has 8-6, 10-8, or
Right.
diamonds, and he just smooth calls you? What do you do on the turn? Are you prepared to just check and fold to his bluff? You really put yourself in a tough spot here.
Well, Gus is going to raise. And like I said, this is going to put JR in this spot where Gus is probably the most aggressive at the table. But is JR really going to pick this spot to make a stand with ace-4?
Terrible flop for JR. I mean, if there were a couple of hearts out there, if there's even one heart out there, some sort of straight draw
Well,
possibility,
he's out of there.
maybe you make a stand, but
Yeah.
easy laydown.
And Gus takes it down there with 2 pair.
Thank you, guys.
And we're done with the first hour of the show.
Danny, take the plane up the fire.
Rattle.
Live straddle here by Seed 8.
I got to tell you, the 2+2 thread that we have,
Yeah.
do they actually talk about poker?
Yeah, they're talking about poker. Talking about the difference between online games and live games.
They're comparing live play. They're saying live play is sexual intercourse, while
Right.
online play is masturbating.
Right. Now look at this. Gus has got another big hand. He's got kings, and he raises it to 30. Love to continue to pick up big hands if I've been the aggressor at the table. And that's why it was easier for me to make that call with Queen's Dave on that board that I was talking about earlier, 7-5-3. Because I think the guy could have been doing it with 8s, 9s, 10s.
Yeah, I
or
want to
jacks.
get to that point in a second,
Okay.
actually, because it's a real valid point. We talk about it with Corporation Mike all the
Right.
time.
Ace-7, some garbage like that. 7-8 of diamonds calls and Jack-10 calls. Well, Gus is good here with kings.
It's a good flop for him, but he can be a little scared here. It's one of those where you kind of want to bet and see where you're
That's how
at.
you're gonna get that money back, right?
I know I'm gonna get 25 at least.
50.
You guys both check?
And Gus is going to throw a continuation bet out here. He is by far the best hand.
100.
I don't know if anyone's really going to get involved. But like you said, it brings up the point, Gus. I mean, he's not necessarily like Corporation Mike in the fact that he's that aggressive, but why not bet your big hands here and make somebody with 7-8 of diamonds check raise you?
Yeah.
You know?
They make a move. Now I was going to say, oftentimes you get on Mike, and I do too, about making some really questionable calls.
Right, right.
But the thing I'll throw at you, and you saw it today, obviously, when you were playing, when you have an image at the table where you are the aggressive one, oftentimes a good player will make a stand against that aggressive player,
Right.
whether it be you, me, Gus, Corporation Mike, or whoever. Now you have to realize that when they make a stand, they might not be making the stand with the best hands. So if you have that image as that aggressive player, you will have to make calls with less than your normal, hands that are less than you normally would call with.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Knowing that somebody else might make think that you're full of crap.
I'm easy, then straight ahead.
Well, JR's got an ace-jack here. See if he's going to raise here in the cutoff. I mean, this is a pretty tight table. I'd assume you want to raise up a little bit. He does. Makes it 25 to go.
Right, but since you're folding on the turn.
Seems like we've seen the kind of tighter Sylvester. I thought that he would be entering more pots. He hasn't played that many hands.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's played it nice and selective. I mean, he's picked up a couple of pots here and there.
And JR takes it down here without a flop. Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. You also become our friend at myspace.com. MySpace.com/live@thebike.
What
Add
are
us
we,
to your
what are we
friends
doing
list.
at MySpace?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to, in the near future, be posting up bulletins about the games that are upcoming once we kind of develop enough
15.
friends where we think it will be kind of a useful tool to
Oh.
get a lot of communication out.
Cool. That's great. I was just curious.
I didn't think you thought I would have an answer for you, did you?
Well, I figured if I didn't hear it from you, I might hear it in my other ear.
Oh. That's what I've heard. I mean, you could have probably heard the same answer in your other ear.
How about hearts?
Yeah, ace queen of hearts here, jack 10 of hearts, ace 10 of clubs, king 6-7 here with a couple spades.
And it's missed everybody. Oh, seat number 8 has a club draw. No, he doesn't. There's no clubs out there. I'm sorry.
Well, Gus is going to bet here. He's going to bet 35. He was the pre-flop raiser.
It's funny. I actually looked at JR's hand, and I thought that was the flop for a second.
Bad flop for ace queen, bad flop for ace 10, bad flop for 3-4. And not a good flop for deuce 5, and Gus is going to take it down. There it is.
And oftentimes, everybody misses the flop. That's one thing Doyle Brunson always talks about in his books. He always says, he goes, more often than not, everybody misses the flop. A lot of dead money out there. Why not pick it up?
Button's going to move over here to seat number 8. Barry Woods just gave us confirmation he will be in the game. It's funny, we were talking about that hand. I was actually talking with Hollywood Russ about how I think that he over-raised bottoms full, or how we both thought he over-raised bottoms full when the flop came out queen 8.
Yeah.
And I was saying that Russ, it probably wasn't the best play, but it makes it look like it was a good play because you won a lot of money, because anyone in their right mind can't call that raise without a queen unless you're Barry Woods. And in that case, it actually worked.
Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
guess, reverse in the sense that,
Right.
If somebody goes, why did he bet so much? He wouldn't bet so much if he had a queen or pocket 8s. Gus takes it down.
But normally there's no way that anybody can call there without, I can tell you, maybe with an overpair, maybe, or a queen.
Yeah.
I think those are the only things that you could possibly call out raised with.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Well, oftentimes, you can't judge a play by its result.
Yeah.
27 ants in a row.
Sometimes you make the wrong play and it works out okay for you. And
I mean, I like
obviously
the
opposite.
raise, like we said, it was just seemed like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But it had great results, though.
Yeah.
We got a raise here in the cutoff by seed 8. Makes it 30 to go with ace 9.
27 times on the bubble.
And we're going to not see a
I mean,
flop
I made a play last night where I bet right into a raised pot. I bet right into Chris Masterson with open-ended straight draw.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty big pot. And he ended up moving all in, and I was committed to the pot, and I called him with that open-ended straight draw. But obviously that was not the right play. I got all my money in being a 2-1
I was a
dog.
little bit surprised that you made such a big call pre-flop to the raise. I didn't think you had enough, really, in front of you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have called heads up.
Yeah.
And then when Jason Katsutani
Yeah.
called also,
Yeah.
I thought there was a chance because I said, okay, well, I'm getting 2-1 plus the dead money in there, and there's a chance I can win money from either one of these players now.
JR here, he's raised it up with kings.
It was funny, the raise actually wasn't that big. So remember, Katsutani had already made it 40. I had called the 40. And then I
Basically, the action was Jason raised to 40,
Right.
Dave called, and then Masterson re-raised on the button, and Katsutani just called and you called. The flop came out rags, but you had an open-ended straight draw with 8-9. Jason checked.
check king.
Check. He said kings. Dave bet, and then Chris raised on the button, and I guess Jason gave Chris credit for aces. Fold. That's what he
Yeah.
said. And that was
Well, when Jason,
Think-
when Chris
All right.
raised, that's what I put him on.
Yeah.
And I had like backdoor hearts and open-ended straight draw.
But again, it might be one of these times where, I mean, some people might re-raise with queens on the button there. Maybe a lot of people do, but you wonder if Chris is all that experienced. Maybe that he was overvaluing queens a little bit too
Yeah.
much there. And you guys gave him credit. Obviously, Jason gave him credit for a bigger hand.
Well, the funny thing is, when he raises that much,
Yeah.
and he gets called in 2 spots, he has to realize there's a chance one of us has higher overpair.
Right. Now, Gus raised it here with ace-queen to 25, and the flop comes out king-jack-6 with a couple of diamonds. That's not a good flop for ace-queen of spades.
It's not really a good flop for anybody. Now, Ryan has a pair with the 10 of diamonds, so he's got at least the best hand and the best draw.
And was it Sam that raised this one pre-flop here? No, it was Gus.
Yeah.
I guess Sam just limped in the cutoff with eights. Okay. And now it gets checked over to Sam, and he's going to bet 45. It's funny. When Gus checks to me, and I have Jack 10 with the 10 of diamonds there, I might throw some money in if I'm Ryan. Instead, he checks, and now Sam bets in position. And it puts him in a tough spot, obviously, now if he's going to just check call the whole
Yeah,
time.
we see
right?
players like this all the time. I mean, I think you need to be willing to put some money in the pot with less than the nuts.
And he folds.
You put yourself in a spot where, if Ryan bets, there's no way Sam can call.
Yeah. But again, I mean, I talk about that all the time. It's people that are not as experienced in No Limit. You got a guy that raises an early position, And then you might have a guy who's called. Now, Jason Katsutani always has a very aggressive image, and you always, you can mix it up. So you call in between. And now I re-raise pretty big on the button. Jason calls and you call. There is a great chance that one of you guys has a higher pair than queens
Right.
on the flop.
And sure
a lot
enough,
of-
yeah.
people don't quite understand that because they think, well, maybe wouldn't that guy re-raise me on the flop?
And the hands in question, so everybody knows. Jason Katsutani had pocket kings. I had 8-9 of hearts, and obviously, and Chris Masterson had queens.
Right.
Flop came out 10-7-5 with
Are
a
we
heart.
pronouncing his last name right? The guy that's dating on that
Masterson?
70s show, right? Yeah, Masterson, right?
In a row.
Oh, not on. He's not on that 70s show. I mean, he's on Malcolm in the Middle. Queen 3 deuce here. Sylvester's got a set of threes. Free pawn is on that 70s show. And Danny Masterson?
50.
I'm all confused now. Turns a 9. Sylvester's got a set.
Hey, is
And,
JR gonna lose a lot of money here at top pair?
and now Sylvester bets again. Now JR called him on the flop.
75.
And Sylvester's going to bet 75 now. He's bet again with his set.
Building a pot for himself.
Luckily for JR, that 9 isn't a 10. He might really get into trouble.
JR's got to realize, does he really want to make a stand here with Queen 10? Sylvester can be a pretty aggressive player, though. He's not going to get involved. Though.
He's not going to get involved. I mean, that Queen 10, obviously, it's not really going to beat much out there.
Yeah.
Can't beat Queen 9.
Yeah, you're in
now.
there with Queen 10. You're not really looking for a queen.
Yeah.
You have a small kicker on the queen.
And that's what Sylvester rightly said. You got a small kicker on your queen.
Pretty small.
Did you ever watch Malcolm in the Middle?
I got to say no. I'm not a big like sitcom guy. When I was growing up, I'd watched all those shows, but ever since I moved to LA, I don't really watch
Yeah,
them.
Chris Masterson is on Malcolm in the Middle.
Thank you for not raising me.
Wait
Yeah,
a
and he's the
minute.
brother of Danny Masterson, who's on that 70 show.
Right. That was...
There you go.
There.
He's also been in, let's see. Well, obviously, E! Hollywood Hold'em, Mad TV.
Three-way action here, 8-7-5. Now, Garland has got a straight draw. He's going to bet right in here, Dave. He bets 15. He's open-ended. Now, if a 9 were to come, he'd have the higher end of it. Sam calls with King 9. The turn's a 9. So look at this. He's got 10-6. He doesn't quite have the nuts, but he beats any other 6. JR actually called with a 5 in his hand. He might be on tilt a little bit from the last hand. Now, Garland is hoping that somebody else has a lone 6 here. He bets 35. But that is not the card that Sam was trying to chase there.
Yeah.
He's out, and JR's out.
And take it down, Garland. Now, this is not a game. We talk about game selection. Is this necessarily a game you would sit down?
Not really. I mean, it seems there isn't a whole lot of dead money.
Yeah.
in
The only thing I would play, I was saying, this game here, if it played bigger, and they were playing 5-10 with an unrestricted game, it is a game you can run over.
Yeah. I agree with you. You ever seen Christopher Masterson's wife on Malcolm in the Middle? That nice young Asian woman?
No, I told you I'd never seen the show.
IMDb up here.
He's married on the show?
Yeah, he's married on the show. He's been married for about 3 or 4 seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he played like Malcolm's brother. He looks so young.
Oldest brother. Oldest brother.
Okay.
$20 raise here by seat 2.
I saw that he was in American History X. What did he play in American History X? That was a great movie.
Sylvester's going to call here with Queen Jack offsuit, and JR's coming in with the Ace 3 offsuit. Garland's got Ace 4 of diamonds in the blind. He's trying to think he's going to make the
Yeah,
call.
enough callers in there. Why not take a shot? Now, you're really obviously not looking for an ace here. You're looking for 2 pair, you're looking for a wheel, and you're looking for diamonds.
$100 pot, 5 ways. Here we go.
Well, that's not it.
10, 3, 8. Now, Ryan has got an open-ended straight draw here with Jack 9. If he were to bet this, he probably would have taken it down, but it gets checked over to Roy, and now Roy's going to continuation bet with 5s. And he actually has the best hand.
I mean, that's the thing. Now, I'm a big advocate. You bet your draws, you bet
Right.
your sets, you bet 2 pair. And if Ryan bets this, there's no way, I don't think anybody calls. And Ryan wins a pot here.
I think that is a clear bet with Jack 9 there.
Definitely. And you got to look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's $100 in the pot.
Now, Sylvester has called in position.
I might move all in here.
I mean, Sylvester's got Queen Jack.
I got to tell you, I might move all in with this one.
I don't know
not
if there's any
What's the
fold
re-
equity, but I guess it
what's
doesn't
the bet?
matter. 50, and he just calls.
I'm certainly not going to call.
Here we
I'm
go.
getting 2-1 plus the dead money in the middle already. I'll take the chance.
Turns a 4. It's a heart. He checks. And now Roy might check. And you know what? Sylvester might bet now. He might represent hearts. He has the highest flush draw. I think I probably would bet. And look at this. He's immediately going to bet. I like the play here. I mean, Sylvester, he's chasing a weak draw over cards with a gut shot to the 9. He's going to represent hearts here. This is really where it gets a step up.
Yeah.
And this is where you become a good player, when you can necessarily represent things that you don't have.
Well, you start putting your opponents on hands.
Right.
And you have the instincts to figure out, okay, what can I represent? And then, obviously, the balls to go ahead with it. Now, Ryan has played this hand so passively. He's put himself into a corner, and now he's in a spot where he's just going to call off his money or throw his hand away. And the funny thing is that if he ever played this hand aggressive, he probably wins the pot.
Yep. And
And the river would have been 4 clubs, and Roy would have actually had the best hand.
Sylvester shows the bluff with Queen Jack, but if
Yeah.
Ryan had bet that flop, he probably would have taken it down.
But the funny thing is, if Ryan actually had called off with the Jack 9, though, would have lost the Queen high anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that is if Sylvester would have called. I don't know if Sylvester would have called the check raise all in with Queen Jack.
No, you mean a flop?
Yeah.
Right. I meant on a turn, though. Once it gets to the turn, though, you check it
Oh,
twice.
yeah. That's just,
Feeling those fours coming right now.
I see what you mean.
I mean, we always talk about, we debate about, there are different ways to play, million different ways to play hands, right? And there are different ways to be successful playing poker. But I got to tell you, I don't know anybody. I don't know any successful poker player that is a passive calling station.
No.
I never said, man, that guy, he can call with the best of them. He's a good caller. He's so passive. Wow. I wish I could get like him.
We had a raise here. It looks like by JR with by Garland with pocket 8s. And now here's a move, again, I never quite understand. You can rebuy at any time in this game. Ryan's going to commit all his money with Jack 7 of hearts.
All in.
He's going to raise. And if this gets folded around to Garland, I call here with 8s, especially against what's been going on with
If
Ryan.
Garland doesn't call this,
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and smack him in the head. Are you kidding me? This is classic. This is classic passive weak type play, and Ryan is showing exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Call, call, call. Now I have no money. I'm frustrated. I'm going to put my money in the worst of it.
I mean, JR's thinking about calling with King 9.
Yeah.
Did JR call with King 9? No, he hasn't done anything yet.
I mean, I think it's a clear, easy call for Garland.
Obviously, it's easy for us to say, but I think I would definitely call
Well, you
it
got to
with
realize how much
ace.
money's in the pot, too.
Yeah, he's almost getting 2 to 1, and he is going to
Yeah.
call. You don't have to go out and smack him.
Good. I was going to say. Well, you've got to also piece things together. You've got to look at the way this guy has been playing, and that's going to price Tyler out. I don't think Tyler can call.
Well, now
Simply
at this
because
point,
Garland,
you'd have to build like money on the side with implied odds.
and Garland doesn't have enough money.
Yeah.
Now, if Garland had say $700-800,
Yeah.
and I had him covered, hey, then maybe I call with Jack 10 of clubs and see if I can hit.
Here we go to the flop.
Oh, that's such a bad. I mean, there was a Jack dead. I mean, he only had 2 outs,
That's sick.
and Garland played this perfectly. He played it fine.
That's so sick.
That is really ugly.
So sick. Well, Garland needs running straight cards or an 8.
It wasn't me, that's all I know.
Turn is a 6. Well, now he needs an 8, right?
Come on, 8.
There was a 9.
Well, quads. See, number 5 would have made quads.
Yeah,
Right,
he had King 9.
Quad 9s would have made.
Wow.
I should have called.
And Ryan wins with Jack 7. He's got to show that to everybody.
I know, it's Jack 7. I'm going to tell you, one of the funniest things I never understood was Scott Lazar, right, in the World Series of Poker in 2005 last year.
Yeah.
Like, he went on the most mega tilt. Because what did he folded, ace 4 in the blinds, and he would have ended up making quads, and that put him on tilt?
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me?
That was so.
It was so
And you just watch this
stupid.
guy, this poor guy.
I know.
He went from
He's
like.
actually been in the booth here one
I know,
time
but he went
before.
from like 3rd in chip
Oh,
to like out
God.
in 2 minutes.
Here, I'll call off. I'll give you a gamble. Here's my Queen 10 off suit.
Right. I mean, I remember that he goes, I raise. The guy goes, I raise. He goes, I'm all in. I call.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way, I went, what? Queen high? What are you doing? He still had like 1 million chips, didn't he? Too, like 800,000.
Self-destructive.
Oh man. I mean, it happens to the best of us. Hey.
Garland actually has raised here with a King Queen suited.
Hey, we talk about result-oriented play. Like you obviously can't judge your play by the results. that's a perfect example there. Garland raised with 8s, calls with a superior hand, and seat number Ryan there obviously moves in with Jack high, Jack 7. Obviously wins the pot, but obviously that's not a positive.
Now,
play.
Sylvester's trying to figure out what he's going to do here. He had limped. Is he going to pull the limp re-raise? Roy has called with ace-6 of hearts. And because it's Garland raising, I think that Sylvester is just going to call. But I think that Sylvester is trying to pull limp re-raise or something. Here we go to the flop. Jack 5-3. And Sylvester's hand's still good here. Let's see if Garland can throw a continuation bet out here.
75.
But look at Roy. Roy's going to come out and represent. He's got nothing.
Well, at this point, you got to get away from Ace King, and
I think Garland's going to get away from King Queen.
yeah.
Jeff, I'm actually going to hit 3 queens.
And there it is. Hey, I mean, Scott Lazar, he was in here. He was a nice guy.
He was a super
I
guy.
didn't actually have, we didn't know at the time. I couldn't actually get into that with him because it was before it came out on TV when he was in here.
Oh,
during Legends.
wow.
But
What did he finish in? What place?
it was
7th?
5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. But I don't see how you go like on tilt. I don't remember the hand, but he had ace rag. I know that. I don't see how you go on tilt when I think it was raised and re-raised, and you don't call with ace rag in the blind, and you end up would have making quad aces. How does that make you go on tilt?
Yeah,
I mean, is that like if somebody raised and I folded 8 deuce offsuit in the small blind, and the flop came out 8-8-8? I'm
And
gonna
you
go on
would have
tilt?
won a huge pot?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's just, I never understood that. The only thing is that cam with the King 9 reminded me of that.
Right, yeah, of course. But I don't think we're going to see JR go on tilt because of it.
No. 3, 5, 4 here with a couple clubs. Got a $20 bet.
Thank you,
here.
Ray. Appreciate it.
$20 bet here by Tyler with 8-6 of hearts.
There was a 4 in the door and we got all excited.
He's got a straight draw, and again, if a 7 were to come, he would have the good end of it. And it looked like he's going to take it down there. Button's going to move over here to Ryan in seat 9. Email here from Eric Peterson. He says, I've been watching them about every night for the last 3 weeks. So far, best show out there. I have a couple questions about props that came from comments made earlier. I heard you say yellow chip prop and green chip prop. Are props allowed to set limits on what levels they play? What are the common levels? What games does a prop need to play? Can you just play hold? Can you choose between limit and no limit? Etc., etc. We'll get to all that in a second. Good questions here. I can tell you how it works here at the bike. It might not be that way at every other casino. Garland's going to raise here to 40 with ace-queen. I believe he's going to take it down here without a flop.
Yeah, I like the fact that Garland's kind of opening up his game. He's raising with pocket 8s. He's also raising with king, queen, ace,
Right.
queen. You can't necessarily always put him on a pocket pair when
Kind
he
of adjust
raises.
to the table.
Right.
Now, at the bike, we actually had 3 levels of props. What we call green chip props, which basically played from 3-6 up to 8-16, and they had to play all the games. You basically always had to play all the games. I remember that rule was instituted about a year and a half ago. We used to have hold-'em only yellow chip
Hold 'em only
props
props,
that
right.
didn't play stud high low, but they got rid of that.
Right.
But you have green chip props, you had yellow chip props would have to play up to 20-40, stud high low and hold 'em or whatever other games we have.
And then we have-
had brown chip props which had to play up to 40-80.
Right.
Brown chips being the $10 chips, yellow chips being the $5 chips, green chips being the $2 chips.
Exactly.
And they were all paid 3 different rates.
Right. And back when there was no, like when I first started, there was a different rate for if you just played Hold'em, or if you said you play everything.
Right. Got a raise here by, I want to say, Ryan with ace-4, and Sam called him with ace-10. Well, Ryan's outflopped him. And he's going to throw in a little $25 bet here.
He'll probably take this down. And I can't imagine Sam calling this, but you never know. Sam had the ace of hearts, it would make it a little bit of better draw. Backdoor heart draw with the gut shot. This is one of those hands where, well, if you catch your queen and only your queen, and it can't be a heart, you like your hands.
And he's going to fold. Ryan
to the
takes
right.
it down.
I was going to say, when I first started here, obviously, there was, shoot, I lost my train of thought.
There was hold-'em only props and mixed game props, or every game props.
Right, and there was also, I can't even think of it now. Oh, there was also actually other props where we couldn't, they wouldn't be allowed to get moved.
Oh, that was kind of like hosts, right?
Yeah, well, no, they were called silent props.
Yeah.
Where they would play, and I never really understood the value of it for the casino.
Right.
But basically, they would get paid pretty much minimum wage. They almost got paid, very, very small. You'd come in, you'd clock in, and play your 8 hours, but they couldn't move you out of a game.
So that's kind of like a player dealer that I think they still have here.
Yeah, it's an interesting play. And obviously, the more games you play, the more flexible you are, the more versatile you are, the higher you'll get paid.
JR's race here with pocket jacks under the gun, and he's gonna take it down.
And those kind of parameters you set, obviously you set for yourself when you are applying for the job. If you walk into a casino, if you're interested in being a prop and you walk into a casino, these are things you have to set up for yourself. You don't play above where you're comfortable playing, and don't play in games that you're not comfortable playing in. If you're only comfortable playing Hold'em or, say, Omaha, don't suddenly agree to start playing stud, because you'll lose a lot of money.
Well, it's so funny. We used to see these, especially the women props here who only played Hold'em, and then they would head over to stud high-low, and they just were the biggest fish.
Yeah.
Not to name any specific names. Roy's got pocket aces here in C2. He's going to race to $10, Dave. I love guys that do this. I seen in the 5-10 game when somebody races to 20. I saw a guy raced with aces to 20 with 4 people in there out of the big blind. And we're going to see three-way action here. Jack 6-9.
Well, Sylvester, you in trouble here?
Well, Sylvester's going to come out and bet with top pair. But, I mean, you are asking to lose a lot of money with aces when you play it in this manner.
I think so.
Roy's going to raise. He's going to min raise. And Sylvester calls. The turn's a 4. Sylvester checks. Now, Sylvester, maybe if he had picked up a heart draw or maybe a straight draw, he'd continue on, but I don't know really what
Yeah,
Jack
4
10
spades
beats
doesn't
here.
help him at all.
Yeah. He got min raised on the flop, and now he's facing a pretty big bet on the turn.
I guess when you order, I'll order because they ain't coming back.
Enrique, did you get some food service over
And he
here?
throws it away. Good laydown by Sylvester there. That was actually the hand I was telling you about last night where I had pocket sevens. Sure enough, it was a straddled pot. So I had limped in for $20. And that was a 5-10 game, so straddled was $20. I limped in for 20, and the guy who either had aces or kings, I don't know which one because he never showed, raised it up to 50. From 20 to 50. And got 4 callers. Like, surprise, surprise. And then loses $2,000 in the pot. Chip count here, we got $5,200 on the table. Gus has the most now. After losing early, he's now doubled up to $1,100.
Take a look at the differences now.
Yeah. Roy still up 275, JR up 220.
Garland's down 300.
Well, he lost that hand. I mean, he lost about
Yeah, that was
130
kind of a
on
bad
that.
beat.
Yeah, the pocket eights.
Well, that was a swing of probably 300.
Yeah.
Now look at this pocket queens here for Gus. He's going to raise it up to 25.
And Jeff's got pocket eights.
Would Jeff ever pull a limp re-raise here? Because he always thinks Gus is out of line. No, he's just going to call.
There you go. 5
And we're going to see 5-way action here. Well, 10-9-3. Gus has got the overpair. And it's good. Pot's about $120.
I mean, nobody's got much of anything. Now, Jeff's got to realize normally if it's heads up, that's not a terrible flop for eights.
100.
But 5 ways, the odds are somebody's got a 10 or a 9.
Well, Gus is going to bet 100. The thing for Jeff, though, is it's going to get folded around back to him, and there's only one person after him to act. Well, he doesn't even think he folds.
Yeah.
Does pocket jacks jump?
And there it is.
That's what I had.
Gus takes it down there with queens. Yeah, there were a lot of things different when you started here, and then they kind of changed things up.
Yeah,
a
well,
little bit.
they've been always toying with it and kind of playing with it to see what works the best.
And now, actually, there aren't many props at all up at the levels we used to prop at.
No, they're not.
Not
Well,
at all.
a lot of the flexibility of it's changed. They've realized that, you know what, there's no real point in monkeying around with it. So they kind of look at it and say, okay, if you can play yellow chip, which is up to 20. You can
Right.
be brown chip up to 40, or you can be green chip up to 816. But you have to play every game.
Right.
It was suited when you went on it.
Now, when they changed that rule and they made every prop play every game, that was almost, like you said, it was almost funny to watch
Right.
some of the exclusive Hold'em players.
And there were
playing
some
stud.
exclusive stud-high-low players playing Hold'em that were horrible at Hold'em, too.
Oh yeah.
Fine, whatever.
Looks like we had a little straddled pot here by seat number 8. Limped around. Got this email by John Alden asking us about what shootout tournaments are. We'll get to it in a second here. Thank you for the email, John Alden from Portland. Have you ever been to Portland, Oregon?
I've never been there. No.
8-way action
I'm
here.
dying to go, though.
Look at the job by Ronnie. Ace, queen, 10 on the flop. Nobody has a king. Sylvester's got queen jack. He's got middle pair, and he's open-ended. Is he going to bet from the cutoff? I'd imagine he would. No, he's
Wow.
not going to.
Well, your hand's going to
Takes the card? I can't believe that.
thought it was your turn.
Turns a queen. Now he has trip queens with the open-ended straight draw.
And Sylvester's got everybody drawing dead. Yeah, he does.
But Roy is going to come out and bet with ace 10 here. He bets 50.
Sylvester, why?
And you can see that Roy is drawing dead because if a jack comes, Sylvester fills up.
And Sylvester just calls.
Oh, like,
Oh. Maybe at this table you don't necessarily have to worry about somebody lingering around with just a straight draw. And the river is a 5, and I think if Roy checks here...
Miss, what are you doing?
Well, look at this. Roy's going to bet again, and might you just call here? Well, Sylvester's showing him a queen.
150.
Roy is bet 150 here. I don't really know what Sylvester is scared of if Roy was sandbagging something on the flop.
I mean, what are you losing to here? King, queen, ace, queen,
Ace Jack, I guess.
Jack
Maybe you
and
think
pocket
Roy was really
kings?
sandbagging something.
pocket tens.
Well, you can't really beat any queen, though. Maybe that's what's going through Sylvester's head. You can't beat ace queen.
Yeah, but I mean,
You
he
can't-
induced
you can't
this
beat
bluff
king,
by
queen.
checking the flop.
You can't beat
Sylvester, you want some of my root
queen 10.
Even the way he's played this hand, he's played it such that he's induced
Yeah,
the
you
bluff.
didn't bet the flop, which was a little bit... But you at least bet the flop, get yourself the button. Your hand's pretty good there. King, queen, 10, and gets checked.
It's a
here.
rainbow board. I mean,
And he folds. I don't quite understand that one. I mean, I was a little surprised that he just called the turn as well. I mean, you never got yourself any information unless he just thought that he had a reading guy where he was just sandbagging something big on the flop. I never. I mean, it's
that's-
limped around too.
that was a bizarre
Yeah.
hand. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I think Sylvester misplayed that hand. I think when he goes home and watches it, he'll figure it out. I think he needed to bet the flop. He's got a pretty good hand there. He's got second pair with an open-ended straight draw on a rainbow board. I mean, that's a hand that you can actually take some heat with.
Now, John Alden has said, "Hey guys, I'm going to a tournament tomorrow, and it's a Texas Hold'em shootout. So is that where they play a nine-person table until you get down to one and combine it and do it over again? Well, online you see double shootouts where that usually happens, where you play kind of a sit and go,
Same
and then
thing.
you play a sit and go. But usually live, Dave, when you win your first sit and go, it turns into a multi-table tournament.
Oh, does
afterwards.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
A
I didn't know
normal
that.
live shootout.
Okay.
One team.
Well, it depends on how many. Obviously, if there's too many people in there, I guess it makes sense. Let's say it starts out with 25 tables. You
Yeah.
can't combine that into one table.
Right. So they usually just change it into like 25 players playing a little mini
Right.
tournament at the end.
Is it?
Now we had a bet here by Sam. He's betting with an absolutely nothing. And Gus is going to raise here with King Jack.
55.
And he's got by far the best hand. Raising with second pair.
It's still your menu, man.
I mean, that's almost like a limit move, isn't it? Raising with second pair there. And he's going to take it down. I mean, hey, I guess if you can get a weak queen out there.
Yeah, why not? He's got position on the guy. Interesting. He also asked on what is the best strategy for those. And I guess, you guys could say it's pretty much basic sit and go strategy. But you've got to realize that, second place in your sit and go gets nothing. It's winner take all. You've got to advance. So keep that in mind.
Really got the menu, right?
You got the menu.
Enrique.
Button moves over here to seat 7.
Back. We're ready to
Once
go.
again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. You're watching No Limit Hold'em, blinds are 5 and 5. We stream live cash games every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m.
You know it's service?
You better not. You take that hand away from that.
And we're getting a raise here on the button by Tyler
You get bad feet.
with 5 deuce of clubs.
Yep.
Kind of mixing it up, and he really puts a tough spot on Jeff. Jeff's got ace-jack offsuit, and he's going to lay this down pretty easily.
Well, it was a straddled pot, so there's a lot of dead money out
Yeah.
there. I mean, this is like $90 in dead money.
And Tyler's trying to pick it up, and I don't know if anybody can call.
Sam has queen 10 offsuit in the straddle spot. He's not going to get involved.
The nice thing about Tyler here, Tyler's got a lot of money behind. He's also got position on the entire field. Tyler kind of using his image. He's got a pretty tight image. He's using it, and he's going to pick up this pot.
It's no better than 50-50. You actually have a hand.
And does Tyler show? No, Tyler does not show. And he picks himself up about $70 there.
Right?
Button's going to move over here to seat 8. And that is Jeff. We're over halfway done here. If you find the action was a little bit slow tonight, a lot of chop pots and stuff,
Yeah.
stay tuned for tomorrow, Dave, where the action's hot and heavy.
Definitely.
25-50 uncapped buy-in.
Well, it's
Hopefully
funny.
Corporation Mike will be in the game tomorrow.
Well, Jason Tachitani is going to be in the game tomorrow. And Barry Woods, I think, is going to be in the game tomorrow. So the action should be great. One thing about, obviously, our show is live. It's unedited. When
Right.
you're watching a show on TV, you're seeing pretty much like the ESPN highlights. You're seeing 8-hour poker tournament compacted into an hour. And of that hour, they have 30 minutes of, features. So you're only seeing, maybe 8 to 10 hands.
And there are actually some other questions here on 2+2. And we never had no-limit prompts either. That was not something that went on because it's not really conducive to being able to get moved around.
Right.
Some people feel that you can have a no-limit prop. I've never really heard of that. Some guy asked, how much would they pay if, say, you played 1-2 no-limit for 8 hours a day? Well, it never really existed here.
Right.
Re-raise 25.
Got a
I mean,
raise
the
here by
no-limit
Gus.
games here are pretty popular.
Yeah.
We didn't really need $100, like the $100 game, I guess.
Right.
We didn't need a prop for that game.
That's almost popular with King's 10.
The props are pretty much just for the limit games. Now, Jeff is going to call with an 8-9 diamonds. Boy, he's had this hand 3 times tonight.
Flopping king. I would.
We've actually seen a lot of people that play no limit exclusively, like a guy like that, like Alan.
Right.
I'm talking about Asian Alan, the younger guy, who loved playing no limit. And we told him that when he became a prop, he would be playing 80% limit.
Right. Now the flop comes up Jack 8-6. Gus checks here, and Jeff is going to bet.
Yeah.
And Gus gets rid of it. Well, I guess Gus and Jeff know each other, obviously, from the
Home game, Barry Woods home
Barry
game,
Woods
maybe?
home game. And Nate the Greek says, yeah, what is the going rate for a yellow chip prop? Well, we were actually paid a salaried rate, plus half of it was an hourly, and half of it was kind of a reimbursement that was untaxable. That
What was collections returns?
Right, basically like a rake-back collections return thing. And, I don't necessarily, I guess, want to get into the specific amount, but, I mean, it was ground chip was pretty, it was a healthy rate
Well,
if
yeah,
you broke even.
well, he said yellow chip. I mean, playing 20-40.
Yeah.
It's an article in.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get rich off it, but you can
Right.
make decent money.
Roy here has got pocket jacks in seat 2. Now,
We don't know.
JR's brought this one in with pocket 8s. He's going to raise to 25.
90.
Is there a reason why we don't want to say how much they make?
And Roy is going to make it 90 to go. I don't know.
Roy's making it at 90, wow.
Yeah, Roy's going to re-raise here to 90.
See, this is the only problem with playing pocket jacks this way. You've got to raise from JR up front, right? Now, JR, unless he has, you are probably not going to get called unless you're beat here, right?
I got to tell you, everybody at this table has overvalued jacks here tonight.
Yeah.
I think it might be one of the mistakes at this limit. It's almost, you see a lot of solid players at this limit.
You see it in tournaments all the time, too.
Now, JR is called here. I think he knows he's behind. But I think that he is deep enough where he thinks if he can hit a set, maybe he can crack aces or something.
Well, he might think that, but he's not deep enough.
King 9 deuce. Isn't he, though?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
He's
got
calling 90? He's calling
Oh.
$90? He's got maybe 500?
Well, I think it was an extra 50.
Oh, it's 50 more.
Yeah, 50 more.
Okay. I thought it was 90. I was like, wow.
And now
He's
Roy,
only got like $350.
well, yeah, now Roy throws out a bet here. Well, debatable of whether he could have made that call or not, but if he was deep enough, he could call.
Right, right.
Again, jacks just aren't, like you said, it's just not a hand that I want to re-raise a solid player with under the gun, out of position. Very difficult.
We see it in tournaments all the time where people will literally go to the hilt with jacks. They go, hey, live and
Right.
die with them, buddy.
I had a pair, but not bigger than.
Actually, I don't look. We got $12.50 for the salary,
Yellow chip.
$12.50 for
Yeah.
rake back. So it was $25 an hour as yellow chip. Brown chip was $35. But remember, half of it was untaxed, and half of it was a salary.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, you're getting your collection back.
Right.
They're reimbursing
Brown
your
chip was
collection.
$20 an hour as a salary with $15 an hour collection back.
Yellow chip was obviously $12.50 and $12.50. I think green chip
So,
gets.
if you
I
look
think green chip gets what?
I think it's 19 total, whatever.
So it's like
that.
$8.50 an hour and $12 back in.
So if you
collection.
look at that and people's like, boy, you can play brown chip for $35 an hour, half of which is untaxed. So if you break even, you're making $35 an hour, 40 hours a week. You get benefits. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's great on paper, but you come down and try to do it.
Well, no, I mean, hey,
25.
like I said, I don't bemoan the job. I mean, I
Right.
did it for 2 years, and I
Right.
really enjoyed it, and I like it, and it's, you know, it's a great apprenticeship. Just go in with your eyes wide open.
Yeah. Tyler's going to raise here with the ace-jack offsuit. Gus is folded.
I mean, realize that one round, one orbit of 30-60 limit hold'em
Yeah,
costs you $50.
right.
You know, you think about it, if you're playing for 8 hours a day of 30-60 in a short game, and the game's not good, and you're not catching cards, $35 an hour is not very much.
Button's going to move over here to Gus in seat number 3.
Shrimp and buffalo wings? French dip salad? Sure. I'll share it.
It's so funny with the show, too. Some nights we have the most action in the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every hand is like back and forth. And obviously, some nights are a little bit
That's helpful.
more like this.
25.
$25 raise here by Gus. And this time he is a little bit out of line. He's got Jack Deuce. And he's been attacking JR's blind, and JR's going to call a 4-5 suited. Well, the problem here is if JR misses, well, he's open-ended here with overcards. Deuce
Yeah,
3.
Gus has got 2 pair. And JR needs to bet that, I think. I think Gus needs to. I think he bets it right into Gus, unless he's got a check raising. But
How about check calling?
yeah.
I know you're not a huge fan of that. Turns to 6 now, and JR makes it. And now JR is going to come out and bet.
And Gus is going to fold.
I mean, even though Gus has a pair there, I don't necessarily even know if Gus was going to get involved if he had 9s or 10s here, would he? I mean, it would kind of put you in a tough spot, but...
I mean, you've got to realize also that one of the reasons you're not calling a guy like Gus with 4-5 here.
Well, look at this, though. Gus is going to call, and
What
he's
the
going
hell
to
do
throw
I
it
know?
right back at your face.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the reasons you wouldn't call with
He's not
4-5
going to
here
get paid off.
is because, well, not only are you not getting paid off, but you also have to look at Gus's hand and go, Gus might not necessarily have a big hand.
Right. River's a 9. Gus called him on the turn. Now the river comes 9. And
Gus can now beat nothing. He can't beat clubs. He can't beat a straight draw. He can't
Yeah.
beat a 3. He can't beat a pocket pair. He can't beat anything. I mean, what hand are you going to manufacture that JR had here? That JR made all these moves with ace-king? I mean, I was shocked that Gus called him on the turn.
I mean, it's just a pure bluff. I don't know if I've ever seen JR bluff on the show.
Yeah, it's not just a bluff. It's also, I mean, it'd be bluffing twice and a call to set up the bluff.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a pot that's almost 500 now. It's about 250 for Gus to call. And he's out of there. And as you said, again, you know, Gus might not necessarily be raising with any type of premium holding on the button. So
Well, that's the
it's
point.
just-
I mean, against a real solid player, now I'll give you an example. Let's say a guy like Garland would have raised, okay?
Yeah.
And I think maybe Garland's got kings or queens. Well, then I can call with 4 or 5 if I'm getting enough, if we're deep enough. Because if I hit 2 pair, if I hit trips there, I might be able to win a really big. I might be able to stack, Garland. But you've got to realize, obviously, if you're playing against a guy like Gus there, Gus might have Jack Deuce.
Ace 9 and King Jack.
And nobody calls, we get chopped around here.
Yep. Boy, we had a lot of that tonight.
Stars and Stripes tournament. Today's event is a pot limit hold'em event. It's a $100 entry tournament. Started at 4:15. Tomorrow's event is going to be great, actually, and the action here should be great too. Not only do we have our 25-50 game going on, but tomorrow's Stars and Stripes is no limit hold'em with one one rebuy, $200 entry. Starts at 4:15. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of what, $100,000 in that
Yeah.
prize pool.
King 10 here for seat number 4. Looks to be the best hand. A little $15 raise here by seat 1. He's got pocket deuces. Seat 3 here, Gus is going to call with 8. Sylvester calls with King 10.
Couldn't call your
And big blind is going to complete here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-way action here, $60 pot.
And there's a set of deuces for Sam.
Bottom set. He was the pre-flop raiser. And, of course, he checks it, Dave.
Of course. Well, that's not a scary flop,
I mean,
is it?
if he bet there, Gus probably might have raised. Now he's probably going to check raise. Either that or he's just going to smooth call and kill all his action when a scary turn card comes. I mean, we see this every day.
And there it is.
And look at this. The turn's the 5 of clubs.
Can you think of a scarier card?
Oh, my God. And the river's the 7 of clubs. There's a 4 flush out there. I mean, Sam played this hand so bad.
Is he actually going to have money now?
And he's going to throw a bet out now.
Bet so much on the end.
Wow.
He can't beat anything. 4 clubs out there. Anybody with a 6 would have a straight or an ace. Maybe he thinks he's trying to bet a weaker club out there.
Well, he might be also trying to get out. Remember, he can't beat an ace.
Right.
Maybe he can get Gus off of an ace without a club.
Raise 3.
That is unbelievable.
It's really an odd bet because you look at that and you
Yeah.
go, well, what would he be betting? He's either betting something to get me off a hand or he's betting a high club.
So he called the flop and got no more money in the pot, killed his action, and actually put money out on the river when his hand could only beat a pure bluff.
Yeah.
He could not get called
By a worse hand? No,
by,
I don't think
by,
so.
by a hand that's worse there than
No,
a set of
I don't
deuces.
think so.
Absolutely. An ace hand turned to absolute garbage.
I mean, there was a little bit of bluff equity there, I guess you could say, if somebody had just an ace without a club.
Right. That is unbelievable.
And that's no limit to a tilt. I mean, you look at it and you go, man, the good players make the most money
Right.
on their winning hands.
You have to build a pot with your big hand.
And they lose the least.
I got to tell you, I mean, one of the ways to look at who is a good or who is maybe a mediocre or bad player is if you ever see somebody flop the nuts and push in a pot in this game, say a $30 pot, they're probably not that advanced of a player, right? If someone has actually turned over the nuts at the river and they have made the absolute minimum on the hand,
Yeah.
they're probably not that advanced.
Garland's going to make it $40 with a couple of ladies.
Yep, he's going to raise to 40. Now, Jeff has got ace-king. Now, oftentimes you can flop the nuts and bet nobody calls, but you don't show that hand
Now,
down.
Jeff actually limped in the cutoff seat with ace king.
JR.
I'm sorry, JR.
No, JR's got 8-9 of clubs.
Oh,
Jeff's
okay, I got to
ace
screw that
king.
up. Now, Jeff has got to think here. Now, it is a button raise, now, but it is Garland. I got to tell you, I might re-raise this, and I'd be in bad shape here, but I might re-raise this thinking there's a lot of fold equity. If Garland doesn't have queens, kings, races, he's going to throw this away.
And he does. He re-raises to 150 here.
But the problem is this time, this is one of the few times that Garland's actually got aces, kings, or queens.
Now, how do you play this, though?
I think if you're Garland, you just call. Remember, you have position on this guy. He's got to act first, and you can see the flop and see what happens. I mean, if you really think your hand is good, I guess you could push here. But are you only going to get called if you push here with queens? Are you only going to get called by a hand that's got you beat?
I got to tell you, though, in this game, I think you might push because I think you get called by ace-king, and I think that these guys are overvaluing jacks and tens. You might get called by those games.
Okay.
If you're deeper, those hands, if you're deeper, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But in this game, from what we've seen tonight,
So you're thinking if he pushes here, there's a chance he gets, let's say there's 5 hands.
Yeah.
He gets called by aces, he gets called by kings.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets called by jacks. Maybe he gets called by tens, and he gets called by ace-king.
right,
Okay, well, 2 he loses to, 2 he beats.
right.
And 1 is 50-50.
Now, you might also throw the possibility that, and look at this, Garland folds the queens on the button. Wow. I didn't really think that that was a possibility.
Man.
Well, the other thing, what I was going to say was that one of the things against pushing with queens there, and we didn't even actually take fold into account, one of the other things with pushing queens there is you might get a hand like 9s or 8s to lay it down, but at the same time, if you call in position, now the flop comes out with the ace or a king, and he bets, are you going to continue on with the hand? You're going to let 9s or 8s win. I mean, there's two, things going on there.
There definitely is, but there's a point where you've got to take the risk and say, you know what? I have position on this guy. Let's see what he does. I have to make a read here.
I think Jeff calls there with ace-king regardless, with the pot odds.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think a push there is. I don't like a push there because the more I think about it, I go, okay. Even if you say he calls with tens and jacks, calls with aces and kings, okay, well that's 50-50 there. But I like a smooth call. I got to tell you, with queens there, and then I play it from there. I see what happens. I'm in position on this guy. I can play it from there.
Ace jack deuce here on the flop. I think Gus checked 2 pair,
Yep, he did.
and he checked it again. Or excuse me, seat 8 is bet now. Jeff is bet here with a 5.
And then Gus is probably going to raise it, and Jeff will probably fold.
Yeah. But again, you know, getting back to that point before that hand, if you are ever watching play and see somebody show down the flopped nuts at the river and drag in a pot that's 10 chips big when there were 6 people in the hand, you can tell that that guy played that hand poorly. You can always bet the nuts on the flop and not get called, but again, you're not going to show that hand down. I mean, it is garbage when somebody shows the nuts and wins like a small pot.
Yeah, I mean, there are times, obviously there are times to slow play, but you've got to realize.
Right.
Some people actually ask me, they go, man, Dave, you always seem to win. When you're winning a lot.
Right.
And I got to tell you, when I flop a big hand, I'm going to push. I'm going to try to make money on it. You know, we see it all the time where somebody flops a set.
Right.
You know, and they check it, if they got checks. Then they put in a $30 bet, the guy calls. Then the river, they check, look for a check raise, and they got checks behind it. You know, it's so odd.
Got an hour left in the show. Sam's got ace queen here, and he's going to raise it out of the blind.
I can't let Garland fold. That's one of the reasons, hey, I was going to say, I like the raise of ace king there, because I thought Garland only calls with aces and kings and queens, and now I can scratch queens up there, too. He probably
Right.
only calls with aces and kings. You know? I got a lot of information there. If Garland pushes, I know he has aces or kings. I can easily throw it away.
And we're heads up here. Ace queen against 8-5. Ace queen 8 here on the flop.
40.
And Sam is going to bet 40 here.
I bet the flop.
And Sam is going to take it down there.
What are you looking at? What is that?
Somebody sent a link here. I think it was Pajeto. Straight aces to a royal flush.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And Button moves over here to seat 9.
That's Ryan. Small blind is $5. Sam, big blind is Roy, also $5. Gus is under the gun. Russ has got a couple of black sevens. He's going to make it $15. Kind of like a stop raise we talk about, maybe.
Yeah, to the one under.
And he's going to get called by seat number 7, Tyler. Tyler's calling him with King 10 offsuit.
Yep. King of spades 10 offsuit, 10 of hearts. Roy's in there with pocket 4s. He calls.
4 players.
We're going to see 4-way action. It's a $60 pot. Here we go to the flop.
Ooh, a couple of jacks out there.
Gus is still good here with 7s. He's not going to fire from up front.
Yeah.
And everybody checks. Turn is a 9.
Tyler is now open-ended. But Gus still has the best hand.
And now he's going to bet.
And if you're Gus, do you ever raise it? I mean, if you're Tyler, would you raise this here?
Represent a jack, maybe, with your draw.
Well, the only thing is Gus is capable of sandbagging a jack, though.
Sometimes, but usually he's not going to.
Yeah.
And he's going to raise here.
Yeah, I like the play. And some people might say, well, that's risky. You know, when you're playing poker, you got to be willing to take some risks.
I think Gus is still in the lead. He has a pair, and Tyler doesn't have anything.
No, yeah, Tyler needs a king, a 10, or actually a 10 would not do it. A 10 would give Gus a smaller straight.
And a 7 wouldn't do it either for his bottom end of the straight because it would fill Gus up.
Right. So Tyler only needs here
Queen.
a queen or a king.
Yep.
Must be something else, right?
Queen and king are an 8 or a 9.
An 8 or 9, there you go, thank you.
Because that would count.
I'm looking at why is it 30%.
Yeah.
And Gus didn't throw it away.
Yeah.
Nice semi-bluff there by Tyler.
And the river would have been an 8, and Gus would have been counterfeited.
Yeah.
There you go. Again, you can email us at live at the bike. You can also become our friend at MySpace. MySpace.com/live at the bike. Hey, check out cardplayer.com and head over to Circuit. David and I were on there a couple months ago. If you ever haven't listened to that, it's kind of a cool show that Scott Huff does over there.
Yeah. Real cool.
Card Player.
Buttons in seat 1. Sylvester's not going to play under the gun. Still amazed Sylvester laid down those 3 queens.
Yeah, I mean, the way
Man.
that the hand was played over, I mean, you don't get any information. I mean, that's the thing. You know, you check the flop, now you call the turn, now you just
Check.
fold the river.
Yeah, check, call, and then just fold. Trips. It wasn't even like there's a one line or a straight out there. We're going to see this 6 ways.
Limped around
Yeah.
6 ways.
$30 pot, 10-6 deuce, rainbow. And it doesn't look like anybody has much of anything. Garland's got top pair, and he's going to bet it.
35.
He bets 35.
Pot is 30. He's pretty much betting the pot. Jeff is going to call this with 5-6.
Yeah, he's got
Second
middle
pair.
pair. I just, like you said, I guess this is how people like Garland make money in this game. People just aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, is Garland the type of guy who's going to get? Is he going to really pay you off here with Queen 10 if you hit a 5 or a 6 here on the turn?
Well, the only
Or it's an
question,
ace?
though, is can you represent, though, if Garland stops betting?
Well, Garland's going to bet again.
Oh, nice bet here.
80.
How many times do we see somebody scared of the ace there? They check it and they give the pot away.
What would the ace scare? I mean, there was no 2 flush out there.
No.
I mean, there was no nut flush draw. On
People
the
just
flop.
get scared for no reason, though. Sometimes a king comes up and they go, oh, maybe he's got a king, for whatever reason.
See how Garland's eyes kind of moving around over there. But I think his eyes always move around like that. I mean, is Jeff
Kind of
calling?
like Phil Ivey, huh?
Is Jeff calling here to set? Oh, I thought he was going to call. He folds.
Nice follow through right by Garland there.
I mean, the thing about Garland there with the fold of queens, I just don't think that is ever an option. Because if you're in a button raise, I mean, how many other hands is someone going to re-raise you with that are worse than queens? A lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go out and find a buffer.
I mean, is it ever an option? I'm trying to think if it's ever an option.
Now, I guess you could play devil's advocate and say, well, I don't think I'm ahead now, and I'm not deep enough to play it because I can't hit my set. I do have position, but
I mean, against
the guy would
certain players-
specifically have to have aces or kings.
I mean, if, against certain players who would only re-raise the aces or kings out of the blinds, I guess you can get away.
Go, go, go.
I don't
There just
necessarily
aren't-
know that if Jeff has,
Yeah, I don't know Jeff that
demonstrated
well. Yeah.
Ace 2-7 here, a couple diamonds.
I mean, it would have to be somebody that I really, really know.
Gus bets, and Sylvester quickly calls here with middle pair. The turn's a queen. I think Gus is going to bet again. He does. He bets 30. And Sylvester folds. Gus takes it down there with the flush draw.
Take it down, take it down. I gotta tell you, I'm so psyched for the hockey playoffs coming out.
Yeah? How about the NBA playoffs? Psyched for that?
I could care less. I could care less.
No, hockey is a great playoff.
Oh,
Very
it's the
exciting.
best.
Very, very exciting.
The only problem is I gotta find the outside living network to find it.
Yeah, the OLN.
Yeah.
Do you have OLN on your? what do you,
Yeah, I
DirecTV?
do.
I think I do too. I've never put it on though.
You know, Isaac likes to watch it for the Tour de France.
right, right. He's got a, the technical director of this show. He's a big Formula One fan and a big cycling fan.
Yeah.
Cycling. Yeah. I think he thinks he's European.
I think he's European.
We got a raise here by seat 1, King Queen offsuit,
That bad.
and he's going to take it down.
The funniest thing in LA with the NBA, not the Lakers are in the playoffs. The whole town is going to be like Laker frenzy. They got the 7th seed.
Such a
Who
joke,
cares?
though, because I mean, the sports fans out in the West Coast, San Diego, Southern California, it's a joke compared to like the
Well,
East Coast.
they're rabid Laker fans out here. They're pretty
Yeah,
rabid.
but it's nothing like it's nothing like being like a Red Sox or a Yankees fan in the Northeast.
No, I guess not.
Button moves over here to seat 4.
Raise it.
Sylvester's going to raise this up with, Queen 7 of hearts.
$80.
Kind of making the move here. It is a straddled pot. I guess he wants to pick up dead money.
That's an old habit. I don't look
Now, would you ever call this if you're Roy with ace 10?
too often for 5.
For 80?
Well, I'm not. Actually, would not call. Would you push?
No limpid aces.
Would you ever push there against Sylvester?
Oh,
Thinking
because
he's making a
Sylvester's
move.
kind of short.
Yeah, Sylvester's only got another $120. Actually, $200 left there. Would you ever say, I have the best hand here? He's making a move.
Why he's laying
Straddle.
The button moves over here to seat 5. The straddle here in seat 8.
I love it when you straddle my butt.
Love it when you
Sorry, Ronnie. I kind of yelled at Ronnie. I didn't mean to yell at you, Ronnie. He kind of turned around and looked at me like, whoa. Pocket 3 is Hammer C8.
shouldn't have ordered shrimp. That's about fish.
Ooh, it's straddled pot here. 4-way action.
I think I want to try to find a buffalo that has wings.
Ace, deuce, 10 here with a couple of clubs.
Calling for the fours, haven't you?
Now, nobody has an ace. Looks like Roy's got the best hand here with a pair of 10s. And it gets checked around. The turn is a 7.
More suited ones. So I was just hoping you were going to win your triple up. There's a quadruple on trips.
And now Gus is going to bet with pocket 4s here. He bets 25. Thinks he might have the best hand.
Quadruple? 100.
Now, is Roy going to call him here? Yes, he does. He calls. And the river here is a king. And now Gus just gives up. I'm always amazed how you talk about there. I mean, Roy is second off the button.
Right.
When he gets checked to me on that flop, I got to tell you, probably at least 90% of the time, I'm going to bet with Queen 10 there.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, he just checked, and then it checked, and then he checked the turn as well. And then Gus was like, maybe my pocket 4s are good.
It's sometimes you and I actually we differ on the fact that sometimes I'm in a small blind, the big blind, and I have some garbage hand like Jack 4,
Right.
and the flop comes out Jack 9 deuce.
Right.
I'll actually throw a bet out there just to see where I'm at.
Right.
Because oftentimes one bet will take it down.
Look at this, kings and queens here. Kings for Roy, and JR's got queens. Now, Roy is going to raise to 30.
And if you're JR here, now Roy is raised in early position. And believe it or not, there are sometimes where I will just smooth call with queens.
Yeah, I think that you can re-raise here. I think if you get, if it comes back over the top, I think that queens really becomes a fold at that point.
Well, it's tough though, because you were just saying in this game how people overvalue jacks and 10s.
Yeah, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody push with jacks or 10s to a re-raise. They might re-raise jacks or 10s. Let's see what Roy does here.
Okay, 75.
I mean, obviously, there's nothing wrong with re-raising with queens, but there is a play. You can just play it. You can just call there.
And Roy is going to re-raise immediately. So Roy raised, JR re-raised, and now Roy has raised back over the top.
Now, at this point, let's dismiss 10s. Let's put him on one of 4 hands. He's either got aces, kings, jacks, or ace-king.
Remember, I have said that people have overplayed jacks by re-raising the original raiser, but now this guy has re-raised a re-raiser. This is another notch up.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily see someone overplay jacks
So
that
you
much.
think maybe the worst hand he has here is ace-king suited?
I think that the worst thing he has here is queens.
Okay. And you have queens, so the likelihood is pretty small.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about raising by JR here is if the flop had come out 8 high, he probably would have gone broke. But by raising, he's actually gotten the information that he wanted to get, and he can lay this down. And look at that great laydown by JR.
Nice laydown there by
Now you can see the big difference between laying that hand down and the laydown that Garland made earlier. Garland laid it down to one simple re-raise.
One simple re-raise of a guy that was re-raising possibly because Garland was a button raiser.
Exactly.
Now, the thing about that, though, is you say if a rag board comes out, Dave, I know I've seen you smooth call with queens, and I've done it before sometimes, too. But you will always know the possibility that the guy has a higher overpair.
Of course.
So, if the guy bets and you raise, and he calls your raise, I mean, alarms might start going off in your head. You either might check the turn, or you might bet the turn and take a showdown, or you might take it where you don't have the best hand. You got to do something where to get him off of maybe a higher overpair, right? It's a different situation. But a lot of times people just automatically dismiss that they can't be beaten by a higher overpair when they have queens or higher.
Of course. I mean, you have to keep all the hands in possibility.
Right.
Anytime a player has either re-raised you or called your re-raise, this guy could easily have aces, kings, ace-king.
Garland raised there with king, jack of diamonds, and he takes it down.
And Roy he's building a little castle for himself there.
I'll deal with ace king sometimes. On the board.
What did you do to this?
What'd I do?
Monitor?
I broke it?
As always, I gotta clean your mess up. Button moves over here to seat 8.
There's 2 hands that you can only do that with. Aces or queens.
And that's what, look at that. I mean, that's what JR said. There's only 2 hands you would probably do that with, aces or kings.
Yeah.
And he was right.
And it's a good laydown by JR.
Yep.
I'm gonna raise and couple with ace king and suit.
There's also a matter of if he calls that raise, which he really can't do, he's committing all of his chips there.
Yeah, he can't.
While Garland probably could have called with queens there and still gotten away from it if the flop was not favorable. Or if he made a read on his opponent that his opponent was really strong with aces or kings, say.
Sometimes those 4 people, 5 people, they won't shop.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions.
Criticisms.
As always, appreciate it.
Nice to have aces. Way better. Tops.
King queen, yeah, for Sylvester. He's going to raise it to $30. Kind of an earliest position there. And generally in this game, if somebody makes it $25 or $30 to go, not many players are calling. And you know, it's funny. Oftentimes we get the question of, hey, how much do I raise in this game? And it really depends on what you're trying to obtain.
Now, Roy has called him here with a dominated queen jack.
Yeah, A7 did not call. And look, Roy's outflopped him.
Yeah, he outflops him.
And he bets right into him.
Look at that. Sylvester's going to raise. The funny
You know
thing here is can Roy get away from it?
Well, the funny thing is here, now Roy thinks he hit a good flop, but Sylvester's playing it like he has pocket kings or pocket aces.
Right.
And look at that. Great play by Sylvester. He takes it down.
Turn would have been a king.
There you go.
Again, you know, queen jack is just not the type of hand that you want to see. Oh, that's not the flop you want to see.
And I got to tell you, I like the way Roy played the hand. Obviously, result-oriented. You go, oh, he should have called him there. But Sylvester was really representing a big pocket pair. I like the bet out with the jack. See where I'm at. I got the information. Okay, I'll throw it away. Now, obviously, in that case, you know, he had the best hand, but Sylvester was clearly representing an overpair.
Ace queen here offsuit for Garland. Seat numbers. Oh, actually, excuse me, that's for Tyler. The seat, so.
I've won like $4 grand.
He's going to raise it up.
But usually it's a cover.
Makes it $35. And generally, that raise has really limited the field. When you make it $15, that kind of invites people in. If you want to get it heads up or 2 or 3 people in there, you make it $30 or $35. And this might just win it right here. Nope. And it's heads up.
JR is going to call with ace-5. And the thing is that when you have aces, kings, or a big pocket pair, you do want to limit the field. You don't want to see that 5-way, especially if you're not the type that can get away from a high pocket pair. King, queen, 9 here.
Pretty bad flop for JR. I imagine this is a check, bet, fold.
55.
And that's the power of it. I mean, that's one of the reasons why if I'm playing this game, I don't really make any raises at $15. Most of my raises are 30 or 35 because I want to get it 2 or 3 handed. That way I don't need to flop the nuts to win the pot. I can outplay my opponents in position. Wow, and the turn and the river would have both been kings, running kings.
Button moves over here to seat 2.
No live one. That's right. No live.
Once again, live at the bike, unedited, unscripted.
There isn't a live one.
Except me.
Huh?
Except me.
Yeah, of course.
9-8 suited, 9-8 of clubs
Okay.
in seat number 1. That's Sam. Imagine he's going to at least limp in. Now, if I'm in the cutoff seat and I'm opening the pot, like in this case,
15.
well, you got a $15 little mini raise here from Ryan. And that's the kind of raise that I just don't really like. I mean, to me,
I mean,
in this
he's got ace-10 offsuit. I mean, is that the type of hand you want to see 6 ways?
well, I don't mind raising if you're going to raise that hand, but I think you need to raise the same in every pot.
Ace, king, queen here. Well, he's got the best hand. Now, the pot is about $75. Let's see how much he throws in here. He checked it, Dave. He checked it. The turn's a deuce. Some of the play in this game. Now he's going to come out and bet.
45.
He bets 45.
He's kind of playing it like he has king jack or something like that, huh?
Get that same $200 over there all day.
And JR's going to get away from it.
I mean, it's one of the things that when I'm playing in this game, sometimes it's really hard to put a player on a hand because you never know. You know, they play the hand so strangely. You go, man, I would have never thought you had that hand because you played it that way. Now, to me, I mean, we talked to Barry Greenstein about that. It's so important to raise the same amount with all of your hands.
You don't want any caller.
I don't want any.
Pocket queens this time for Ryan in seat 9.
Well, let's see now. Let's see now. He just made it 15 with ace 10. What's he going to make it with pocket queens?
Bad board for queen.
And sure enough, he makes it 40. There you go. See, now what he needs to do is 40 is probably too much. 15 is obviously too
Yeah.
little. So you kind of find a happy medium. Let's make all my raises 30. And that way opponents can't know. They won't know what I have.
Well, it's almost like, sometimes guys try to play it cagey in a way where I think that they'll raise to, I'll make the relation in this game, but in 5-10 game they'll raise to 20 or 30, or say in this game 10 or 15 with aces or kings, hoping to get re-raised, trying to pick up on what you're saying, oh, this guy's just kind of doing like a stop raise with a suited connector. Let's take a look at another chip count here.
Yeah. Almost 5,000 on the table. Roy's got the most.
Yeah.
Gus, a little dip there for Gus.
Let's take a look at the differences for the night. Roy's up $600. He's really one of the only big winners. Garland down 325.
A couple of nice pots there.
And Sylvester's even now.
Yeah, well, lost one pot and then won that last pot. So.
And I tell you, I mean, maybe it's just been recently, but usually doesn't Sylvester go broke when he plays the show, and then we kind of show him walking off?
Yeah, well, he's done it a lot where he's built up his stack a lot.
Right.
He either wins a lot or loses a lot.
Yeah,
exactly. He almost never breaks even.
But again, I've seen guys raise a little bit, I guess with the intention so that they think that maybe somebody will come over the top of them. But it never seems
guess.
to really work.
More often than not, though, if somebody's going to raise it small and I've got a hand where I want to see the flop.
Yeah, you're not going to come over the top.
No, I'm going to call them and see a flop for cheap.
Right. Kind of the absolute reverse of what they're trying to do.
The problem is, if you play with a player long enough, you can start figuring out what they have, or at least put them on a range of hands by what they've raised pre-flop.
Punish all your lempers out there.
I mean, I know when you're playing, generally, depending on the table you're playing at, your raise is either 50, 55, 60, or 65 almost every single time.
Yeah, I don't raise below 50.
And I never know it. It's really hard to know what you have. Do you have aces this time, or do
Right.
you have king, queen this time?
Right.
A lot of Broadway out there. Sylvester made a big raise here with ace-jack. I don't think anybody's going to call him. He takes it down.
Button here moves over to Garland.
No.
You ever been to Coachella before? That music festival?
No, I've never been there.
No. What about the Reading Festival over in England? Heard of that?
Nope.
No.
Never been there either. I'm sorry. I know you're
You didn't go to Woodstock when he
You're
lived in upstate New York?
You're
in
starting to
94?
start a conversation here. No,
Were you still high school in '94, or you were in college?
no, I was in college already.
But it was around. Woodstock was around.
Yeah, it was right
New York,
there.
But you didn't go.
I just didn't go. Is that okay? I got to tell you, it didn't really appeal to me. I know Michael Stipe was there. I don't know what I was thinking. It didn't appeal to me. I was like, okay.
No, I can't. I can't call it. I can't even call it $10 with those guys.
Gus raised to 15 here with the ace 9 of diamonds. C-Nate is called with queen 10, and here we go.
No fours?
Ah, Gus has hit trip aces here. And I assume Gus is going to bet here.
Pretty straightforward, and Jeff is going to fold.
Yeah.
Just racking up in the lead.
Live at the bike.
Going till 4 a.m.
Live, unscripted,
Not
and sometimes just a little bit painful. Gotta be honest.
right away.
Yeah, this game was, I was a little bit concerned about the table.
Well, we get this. Sometimes on
players.
Tuesdays, kind of roll the dice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a great game, and sometimes it's kind of, lays an egg. It was funny. I actually remember Woodstock, in '94, and I was. A couple of my buddies actually went. And I just didn't want to go. I don't know why I didn't want to go. The hell was I doing? When was it? What month?
Well, it was in '94, and then there was another one in '98 or '99.
Right, the
99.
'94 one though. What month was it in?
It was in the summer.
Summer?
I don't know. Yeah, like probably August or something like that. 5-way action here.
Oh, that might have been.
Close.
Ace 5-8 here, 3 flush, all diamonds.
Yeah, I was in school in upstate New York, but I wasn't actually living in upstate New York at the time.
Oh.
That might have been it. That was it.
JR's going to throw a little bet here, tester bet. Ace actually got 2 pair. top and bottom. Now there's a 3 flush out there.
Yeah.
He bets 20.
But he's going to take it down.
He does. Well, it's back to Sylvester, who's got a garbage wheel draw, and
Yeah.
assume he's going to fold, and he does.
It's okay. I have 2 pair, but no diamond.
Button's going to move over there to seat 8.
Yeah. Should've done
I actually wanted to go to the Woodstock 99, but I was actually abroad in England over that summer.
Michael sends an email here. He goes, Dave, man, stand your ground, Dave. Where was the 3-bet? Dave, you gave up that argument too easily. Take the most rabid Laker fan and the most rabid Red Sox fan. They are probably similar. And I agree. I actually think the Laker fans here are actually, because you got to look at it. Most LA fans are pretty, bandwagonish.
Right.
The Lakers suck. Okay, they're finished like the 7th seed. Okay, they have Kobe Bryant and nobody. And even any smart Laker fan knows they have no chance of really advancing into the playoffs. But they're still hugely rabid. I mean, they're going nuts. Now, the Clippers, for example, nobody gives a crap about them.
4-way action here. 7-6-5 with a 3 flush.
Wow, Sam's got a straight flush draw, the straight already.
Yeah.
Nice flop for Sam.
And he's going to throw a bet out there. I guess he understands now that his hand is vulnerable here.
Yeah, I like the bet. I really do. I mean, you get called by an ace of hearts. You get called by a king of hearts. You might even get called by a straight draw. And you look at Ryan's hand. Ryan's actually got the bottom.
The jack of hearts.
Ryan's got the bottom into the straight.
And he just called. Yeah, Ryan actually got the bottom end. He check calls the turns to 6. Is Ryan waiting to make a move here?
I mean, Ryan's hand is very vulnerable here. And what is he going to do here?
$60 bet here. Gus folds.
I mean, obviously Ryan is drawing dead. He cannot win this pot. Gus is out of the hands. And he throws it away.
Wow.
Wow, it's a good laydown. But, the interesting thing was he never put money in the pot. He checked it, then called, and then checked and folded. I got to tell you, I got to put some money in the pot and see where I'm at with the bottom straight.
Between 47 is a super. Between 47 is a super.
Got an email here from Mark. He says, when you just give up at a table that's far too passive to make any substantial money and move to a different table, the action at this table seems so impossibly slow and passive. I'm surprised no one's gotten up and found a different table yet.
Yeah, I mean, to me, why not get up as soon as you can?
Well, I think you can also make an adjustment, too, which I don't think anyone really has here.
Yeah. I mean, you can make an adjustment and then obviously ask the floor man to make a table change. To obviously look at the other games and see if there's another game around.
Right. Jeff Ray's there with Ace King. I mean, there's been more non-flops here tonight than I have remembered in a long time, Dave.
Yeah, I can't think. Usually, I can think of every single night we've had live at the bike, and I can think of one hand specifically where I go, oh, that was that night where we had this hand. Like even that last night when we had Limit Hold'em, I remember there was a pot. I'm sitting there going, I remember there are a couple of hands that kind of distinguished that night. But this night, there's really not a hand yet to distinguish it. There's still 30 minutes left, so I'm holding out hope. But you never know. But hey, you can still learn a lot. Obviously, the show is for entertainment, but it's also educational.
You have a big hand.
And see what happens. I think Evelyn's left. I know Isaac's left. Flops ace, 10, 8, couple of clubs.
You got a red cracker. I guess a cracker.
3 of diamonds and a 5. Checks around. I think Sylvester throws a little $10 bet in there when he makes 2 pair on the river. And, looks like Tyler might call him. And Tyler does. He's got 2 pair as well. The 5 hit him. But Sylvester's going to take this down with 10s and 5s. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff here at Live at the Bike. You can also check out our website while you're watching the game if you want to check it out. We've got like my bio, Bart's bio. We've got my blog. Actually, my blog will be updated tomorrow. And, yeah. A lot of neat stuff. We try to keep updating it all the time. Button moves over to seat 3. Small blind's $5. Big blind is also $5. That's JR. And that is going to make Garland under the gun. Now, this is the kind of game, if you wanted to adjust your style to this game, this is the kind of game I would probably be straddling almost every single time. I would really be raising a lot of pots in position. I would try to do the best thing possible to look like a live one, and without being live, obviously, and really try to mix this game up if I was stuck in it. More than likely, I'd probably just get up and try to find a better game, though. Ryan throws in 15. Seat 1 calls 15. I mean, there is money to be made in this game. If you look at the players in this game, there are a couple of solid players. But tight, passive play, you can beat that. That's not necessarily a hard game to beat. Ace, King, 10 here. Pretty good flop for Ryan. Ryan's got a flush draw plus the gut shot. Needs a queen or spade to win this pot. Sam has the best hand with a 10, but I'm sure he can't take much heat. And Ryan's going to bet his draw. First time we've seen him bet a draw all night. And that'll probably take it down. I mean, you look at this game here, and obviously you can see the leaks in a lot of the players in this game. And you just got to figure out a way to exploit them. Obviously, you can't play against these guys the same way you might play against a guy like Corporation Mike or even, say, Barry. You've got to play it differently. It's funny, Bart actually left the production room for a second. He came back. I thought for a second he might just leave. Button moves over to seat 4. And JR and Garland in the blinds.
Ronnie, I already thought that you had too much sugar today. I didn't want to get you all crazy.
Ronnie is like a sugar freak, I tell you.
Yeah.
He goes to the candy store and literally gets like 6 candy bars to get him through the show. And he downs him with like 4 Red Bulls.
Yeah. And we get a raise here by Gus.
And he's still nodding off.
Yeah. He raises it to 25 with 9-5 offsuit. Sylvester's going to call it an 8-7 offsuit. Pocket 9s for Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan had limped with Now, this is a game where I would never limp with any hand that was premium.
No.
I would be raising with King Jack, Queen Jack.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 4-way action here. 10-4 deuce. Now, is Ryan just going to check and call? Are you going to throw any money out there with 9s on this flop?
He checked it. I can't.
Yeah, he checked it.
Amazing.
And Gus is going to bet. Ryan has by far the best hand.
I mean, look at the percentages. I mean, everybody's almost drawing. I mean, Roy's the only person that even has really a draw. And he doesn't have much of a draw.
Sylvester has absolutely nothing here. It's a $70 bet here by Gus.
I think he senses that Gus has got nothing, so he's trying to make a move here. And what does Ryan do here? Now, he can't beat an overpair. He can't beat, say, ace 10 or jack 10.
Right.
Can't beat jacks, queens, or kings, or aces. I mean, it's amazing this guy didn't last as a prop. I mean,
what is he thinking about? I mean, he's had some meatloaf there in the background with a root beer. I don't know if that's passing through his
I hate
mind.
to rip on a guy, but I mean, this guy's just too easy. I mean, there's actually a rumor going on that the higher ups at the Bicycle Casino actually hire props, live props, to get people to play here.
Really? There was a rumor going on about that?
Well, it's not a whatever. But you wonder sometimes. Oh, Jesus. Call a clock on this guy. Christ almighty. Put me in my grave. Just shoot me now. God. Where's my gun here? That's it. I'm slitting my wrist.
Just as long as we don't have any fish music going on in the background.
And he lays it down.
He folds.
There you go. Good lay down.
Gus takes it down there with 9.
Yeah, good lay down there, buddy.
Yeah.
There you go. Dolly Parton. Gus takes it down. 9-5.
9-5. William Frick emailed us, Dave, and said, do we have props for some of the other games, like Blackjack, Mexican Stud,
We do.
Super Pan?
There actually are props. They have blackjack. They have like players over there also.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do.
I didn't even know that. I was going to say no.
Yeah,
it's not prop. They don't use their own money, though, do they?
I don't know.
What's the point of that, though? Do you mean to encourage action so that the house can get the ante?
I guess so. I mean, I got to find out exactly. I know there are players over there that got paid, so.
Yeah, but not probably for blackjack. Maybe for like Chinese or something like that.
I guess so. I'll come back. I'll find out. Jeff's got ace king here. I think he straddled.
Yeah, it looks like he did. Gus is limped. And I assume that Jeff is going to raise out of the straddle spot here.
I swear, one of these days, somebody's actually going to watch the show after we rip them, and we're just going to get punched in the face. I'm waiting for that day. I'm hoping it doesn't happen. We got Ray here to protect us, though.
Jeff is going to make it 35 to go here with ace-king.
Like I said, I mean, it's really never personal, ever. Except maybe tonight.
Tyler's got pocket threes here. And he's trying to think. And he's going to make the call. And here we go to the flop. Ace-king against pocket threes. Well, pocket threes are in the lead here. Would you ever throw a bet out here if you had threes?
I think you might want to. I mean, it's not a flop. I mean, if you put the guy in ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, you throw a little bet out there and see where you're at. Otherwise, you just got to check and fold. You certainly don't want to check raise this because you don't want to commit a lot of chips. Check raising is probably the worst play you can make because you have to commit too many chips. And if the guy has aces or kings, you're not going to get him off it.
$70 bet here by Jeff.
It's one of the reasons I'm not a big advocate for check raising because if you check raise your big hands, well, then you also have to check raise your bluffs, and you end up committing too many chips with your bluffs. But if you bet your bluffs and you also bet your made hands, you can win pots a lot cheaper. And Tyler's now put in a tough spot here. Problem with his hand is he doesn't have the three of clubs in his hand as well, so if by chance that were to come, he doesn't even know if it's good. And Jeff outplays and takes the hand.
And there it is. Button's going to move over here to seat 6.
I don't necessarily mind just checking and folding either with pocket threes. I mean, that's another way to play it.
And again, the good old $50 chip stacks over there for seat 2. I think that's kind of the most interesting thing about tonight.
Yeah, it is. It's
The
great.
half chip stacks over there for seat 2.
Hey, what kind of vegetable would Ryan be in seat 9?
Oh, no. I don't know.
We're coming up with vegetables? Isaac's and asparagus. I think I was the black-eyed pea. We've got potato, of course. Isaac says he's a rhubarb.
Ace-king again here, this time for seat 7 in the small blind.
How about a beet?
Tyler makes it 30 more here with ace-king. And JR is going to call with a suited ace-9 here. And Garland's at there with pocket 4s. Well, Jack, 10, 7, 8,
Wow.
9 flops a straight.
Nice flop for JR. Not going to get much action, though, you bet. Tyler's going to put a little continuation bet out there.
And I would assume that you would raise here if you're JR.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the cards that will kill your action, vulnerable to other things happening. You do have a third player in there.
Now, obviously, it's real easy for us to know. We can see that Tyler's going to throw away if you raise.
Right.
But if Tyler had kings or aces, you don't want a spade to come off, you don't want a queen to come off, you don't want a 9 to come off.
I got to tell you, I've seen JR play before, even before we did this show, and he's usually pretty good about raising when he makes a big hand.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to raise here, and I like
I'd be
it.
shocked if he just called.
And that's a nice raise. It's
Yeah.
kind of a smallish raise.
Yeah.
Calls 75 and raises 100 more.
And again, with stack sizes this kind of short, JR only has about 175 left. If Tyler had aces, kings, or queens here, he might get him to commit the rest of his chips.
Oh, in this game here, aces
Yeah.
and kings are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No way. Now, ace-king, you probably got to throw that away.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's probably going to go somewhere.
JR is just not the type of player who's making a move. I mean, there's really nobody in this game who's making a move except maybe Gus and Sylvester.
But the worst play, like you said, is to give aces and kings, to allow aces or kings to be able to get off the hook easily if you call there and say the turn is an 8 of spades.
Exactly.
And now aces or king, 2 red aces fold to your bet on the turn.
Right.
Whereas you would have gotten all the money in
And
on
they
the flop.
even says, he goes, oh, man, you got so lucky. You caught the spade on the
Right.
turn. Here you go.
Right.
Throw it away.
Or a 9 for a
Yeah.
straight. Right?
Yeah. Small blind is Jeff. Big blind's Ryan. Sam is under the gun. He's not going to play. Roy's not going to play. Now we got an interesting hand here. Jeff's got ace-king in the big blind, in the small blind. Wondering if he's going to raise this up. In this kind of game here, I mean, I pretty much raise in any position here just for value. And he looks like he's going to make it $35. Now, ace-king can be a tough hand to play out of position. Now, Ryan's got ace-8. He's going to take about 3 minutes to think about it, and he's going to call. Sylvester's going to call. And that'll probably bring Tyler in here. He's got jack-9 suited on the button. I think you can call this. You got enough money to call. And we're going to see it 4 ways times the $35. So we've got about a $140 pot. 10, 6, 6. Sylvester's got top pair. He's outflopped everybody.
And let's see how he's going to play it here.
Well, it looks like Jeff's going to put a little continuation bet out there. And I don't mind this bet. I mean, you look at that flop. Good chance that everybody missed this flop. Obviously, he doesn't know that Sylvester's got a 10.
And the funny thing, though, too, is that, I think that Sylvester's probably going to commit some chips here. But, in a tougher game with a lot of people in there, especially if somebody calls in between, I throw queen 10 away in a heartbeat.
Well, the whole thing is if Jeff is going to continuation bet here with ace-king.
Right.
And then also continuation bet with aces and kings.
That's what I mean.
It really puts somebody in a tough spot.
Now, Sylvester calls here. But I think that is not a hand you can overcall on the flop with.
No, if somebody else
Queen
called,
10.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no way.
Easy throwaway.
And here we go to the turn. Turn's a 6.
That doesn't change anything.
Funny thing is, if Jeff actually pushed hard here, would Sylvester commit the rest of his chips with a 10? Again, this is pretty advanced stuff.
Now, let me ask you this. If you had aces or kings here, aces especially, would you ever check it?
Well, there isn't really anything that you're really scared of.
Exactly. I mean, obviously you want to build up a stack, but if you put the guy on a 10, but you think you might scare him off it, maybe you check it, maybe he checks behind you, and maybe in the river you put a little value bet in there and you get called.
I think a better play is to bet weak on the turn, and he's not going to go anywhere with the 10, and then that allows you to bet more on the river.
And either way, Jeff actually checked it, though, showed some weakness. Sylvester figures he's got the best hand, and he's going to bet it. And you know what? Jeff might think that he has the best hand here. I mean, remember, it's 3 6s ace-king. I mean, Jeff's got the nut-no pair. Unless Sylvester has specifically a 6, a 10, or a pocket pair, you've got him beat. The only question is, though, Sylvester called your raise pre-flop, and then he called your bet on the flop. What do you think he called with? I mean, do you think he called with a hand worse than ace-king? There's no draw out there. So even if you think he called with your pocket 3s, you can't beat pocket 3s. And he's going to lay it down. And the river would have been a 5.
But a
Wouldn't
5,
have changed anything.
yeah.
And Sylvester takes it down.
And we had a little post here on 2+2 saying, anybody else notice Roy's string raises or string bets? Funny thing is that there's a lot of things on the table that you might not be able to pick up. It's so lax in a cash game compared to a tournament. I mean, you can kind of go back in one motion for more chips and put chips on the table. I mean, you can't physically just put some out there, then go back to the stack. But if you have it in your hand, you can kind of put it out one by one.
Right.
It's much more lax than a tournament, and I always find
There's
it fun.
actually a rule. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. There's actually a rule. Scott actually came out there once and said that in a cash game, because there's so many chips, you can go back and forth.
Of course.
Yeah.
If it's, I always find it funny when someone comes from a tournament and tries to call a string raise on me or an opponent, and I just say, shut up. No, it's not. I don't say to shut up, but I'm just like, and then they're like, you want to call the floor man? Call the floor man. All right, call the floor man over. They just have no clue, whatsoever.
Well, maybe he gets a little antagonistic because you say shut up to him.
Well, that could be. But the point is, in no limit with a lot of chips, you basically almost can go back in one motion and just grab more stuff because it's...
I mean, what I'll often do, now they don't want you to do it, obviously you can't put out one stack, then pause 3 seconds, then put in another stack. Obviously that will be called on you.
Yeah.
But if you're making continuous movements, generally you'll be okay. Just to be safe, what I like to do is I'll oftentimes just announce raise. I'll put the call on there, then I'll think about it, I'll count my chips, and then I'll put it out. Okay.
$75 raise here.
Looks like we've got
by
a
Tyler.
cat fight on the thread here between a couple of our posters.
Yeah, it all started with me and the Michael Stipe comment. Apparently Boondoggle took exception to that. Baron Baker took.
Oh, I got
to
you.
edge on him. And when are you ever going to update that blog? With,
I said
the fight?
tomorrow. I actually wrote it, and it's going to
Okay.
be Evelyn's going to update it tomorrow. It's already done.
Got about 15 minutes left in this show. And we do have a post here by Boondoggle regarding the thread that Captain Zebo said it's possible to make $1 million a year playing the 3-6 no limit tables online. We actually went over that a lot last night.
Yeah, we did. I actually thought about something for you, and I got to throw this at you
Yeah.
after this hand. After Garland raises,
We were actually just throwing it out if anybody didn't know. I was saying, what is the most amount of hands you've ever heard of somebody playing online in a year?
yeah.
Because we talked about burnout factor.
Hey, would you re-raise Garland almost every time?
I wouldn't be smooth calling with ace 10. That's
But
for
would you
sure.
just re-raise him almost every single time?
Possibly if he's going to throw away queen.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, I would almost force him to play back at me. It's in a way of like, if you're an NBA basketball team and you want to force a team to play faster, you kind of, you trap them. Same way, I'd almost force him to play faster.
Well, this is a bad flop for Garland.
And he's going to continuation.
You bet 60.
And it's a worse flop for Jeff, and he's going to throw it away. Garland takes it down. Anyway, I was going to throw this at you because there was somebody on this whole Zebo thing, Captain Zebo.
Yeah, right.
Can I make $1 million in
Right.
a year? They were going to do a prop bet for it.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, okay, well, why don't we do like maybe $250,000 or $500,000
Yeah.
prop bet to see if you can do it. Now, only an idiot would actually bet him that he couldn't do it.
Right.
Because I would take the bet that I could make $1 million in a 3-6, playing 3-6 no limit hold'em in 1 year. Anybody want to say? I'll bet any amount.
Yeah, but unless it's you actually haven't punched the numbers out where it's actually just impossible to do. Physically
No,
impossible to do.
it's not impossible. It's never impossible. You want to make the bet? I will bet you any amount that I can win. I'll make you a better bet. I'll make you a bet that I can win $1 million playing 3-6 no limit hold'em in 1 week. Okay?
Is this a riddle?
It's not a riddle. It's just gambling. Okay, I'll give you an example, and hopefully you guys can figure this out.
We
There
got
I am, okay.
we have a raise here on the button. Sorry,
Oh.
who gets it? Oh yeah.
Whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, Amarillo Slim made a bet with a guy a long time ago, and they actually used this in a a movie later on, where said that he could make, hit a golf ball 800 yards or something like that, or something, or made a
Right,
buy,
right.
whatever it was. Anyway, they said, okay, we'll bet you. So he went onto like some frozen piece of ice,
Yeah.
hit the golf ball, and it went forever. Okay. If somebody were to bet me, if you want to bet me that I can't make $1 million in a month playing 3-6 no limit,
Yeah.
you don't think I can find opponents to throw $1 million to me?
Right. Throw it off.
And then we'll chop up the $500,000 you're going to lose to me in a prop bet?
Right.
Hello?
Yeah, there are other ways to do it. That's basically what you're saying.
Are you kidding me? Who would make that bet? You don't think Captain Zebo would ensure that he's going to make $1 million? Come on.
So you think actually more? I mean, there were actually a bunch of stuff written in Card Players. We see another chop pot regarding a prop bet with a guy who said that he could win the tournament points for PokerStars for that year. That's a little more difficult to rig, right? Because
Of course,
you're
yeah.
not going to be able to dump off.
But you've got to realize there are a lot of people make prop bets all the time, and they're kind of like funny little prop bets, but people always try and figure out ways around them.
Yeah,
The prop bet of winning money online is pretty simple.
yeah.
I would call up my dad in New York, and I would ask him to find some investors, and I'd say, hey, you guys want to make an easy $500,000?
Yeah.
No, perfect.
Again, though, I think that I think you can play 3-6 no limit at possibly a rate of $1 a hand, but I
Can
just
you
don't
get a
know.
million
if it's-
hands in
Yeah, I
that
just
year?
don't know. It's physically. I mean, we were talking about it last week, and I don't want to go over what we did, but basically, if you look and you read the blogs of some of the best online players, you might be able to keep up a pace of 8 or 10 tables, Dave. For 4 or 5 hours a day for maybe like a week or two at a time before taking the same amount of time off
Right.
every single time. I mean, the burnout factor is just too much.
I'd imagine that. I mean,
I don't think anybody's brain works that much without some sort of mental rest.
the guy might win $1 million and then win the prop bet, and then go to mental hospital.
Right. I mean,
Poor guy, jeez.
Button moves over here to C5.
But anyway, I tell that story as a little caveat. Be aware, if you are taking a prop bet or you're making a prop bet with some guy, that there are other ways around it.
You know what I suggest? I just shove it all in. 200.
And I think it was that stupid movie with Kevin Costner. What was it? Tin
He
Can?
walks away with a big cost.
Tin cup?
Tin Cup, thank you. That golf movie. What's his name? That Miami Vice guy? He went onto the street and said, hey, I can drive the ball this
Right,
far, and he went
right,
onto the
right.
street and hit it. Well, that's from Amarillo Slim. Supposedly, I think at least.
Straddled pot here by C-Date. We've got time for. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show. Oh, we actually had a post here by Pajedo. I think he was a little bit concerned that he won't get a chance to play on Thursday if it's pot limit. What will the limits be, Dave?
I believe pot limit's going to be 510 pot limit. But we'll see. We'll change it up. I mean,
It could be 5-5, 500 man. That's still okay too.
Maybe we'll switch up our Tuesday game.
Yeah.
So the Tuesday game might one week be this game, and then the next week be 200.
No,
I think it's safe to say we wouldn't be losing much if we lost this game right this second.
Garland had top pair, didn't bet it on the flop. Now the turn brings the second three, and now Tyler has made trip threes. Garland's come out and bet, and Tyler's going to mini raise him here.
Now, I would imagine it's a pretty easy hand for Garland to get away from. You can't even beat a real jack. Your 8 doesn't play. Yeah, and if Garland gets away.
He's out of there.
You have a green neck, please.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to get rid of that $200 game or the $80 game occasionally, but
No.
the lure of having a pot limit game would be really exciting.
I just thought it was interesting. Let's take a look at a chip count here. Again, the chips really haven't moved. It seems like that 47-15 number is the same as it was last time.
Yeah, and Ryan still has the least, and Gus and Roy still have the most.
Take a look at the differences. Roy still with the most.
Sylvester's actually come back now. He's up to 160. Wow. Ryan down $60.
I just thought it was interesting pointing out yesterday that I think 3-6 no limit online, you can almost make as much as you can in 30-60 limit, which I kind of sometimes find a correlation to live play when we talk about 5-10 no limit making more than 30-60, but putting no more at risk than 30-60 limit.
No,
We always talk about how the upside for no limit is much higher than the limit.
Absolutely.
Downside is about the same, it seems like. I'm not sure if you and I have enough hours combined really yet to confirm that, but it seems that way through the first 6 or 7 months of playing no limit exclusively.
5-way action here, limped around.
I guess I still look to play like a mixed game. I still like to play like Deuce to 7 or Paducah or
for a family party.
Omaha.
Garland's going to bet 70 here with top pair, 6-8.
17.
And I assume no one's going to call here.
No, I can't imagine.
Gus has got a gut shot straight draw.
I mean, you don't call. I mean, you'd never. Why would you ever call Garland? You'd raise Garland, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Raise or fold.
Yeah.
I have no problem folding that, obviously, but you'd if you think that you can get Garland up the hand, you raise him.
I need runner, and I
Basically, I mean, a player like that, I push. I keep pushing until finally he tries to make a stand against me, and hopefully when he makes a stand against me, I have a real hand.
That's why I say, just because everybody will straddle and then LinkedIn is what I'm going to do. Just straddling too?
It's funny how active the 2+2 thread is tonight on one of the duller nights.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Baron. Baron's sitting there wondering when you're going to write the article for Shirley's site.
It's coming soon.
Yeah, my ass.
Let's take a look at another setup.
That's about the funniest thing I read. Let's take a look at another setup. Wow, look at the way she spreads those cards. It's very exciting.
Is garlic eating like turkey or chicken? I swear to God, I smell something in here.
Yeah, me too. Smells good.
Yeah.
8, 7.
Man, it's like I can smell it through the camera.
Oh, there it is.
It's not fair.
Button moves over here to seat number 7.
Nobody had an 8.
Is Isaac using the camera out there? He is, wow. Just monitoring us.
Yeah, there he is.
Isaac-
Hey, there's
Isaac-
Isaac. I don't know if you ever got him.
Our director,
Yeah.
our technical expert.
They don't respect me. Yes. See, when Ryan straddles, everybody limps.
Limped around here, straddle.
All right.
5-way action.
5 please.
King, queen, 8. Oh, Tyler's got the nut flush draw here. And the button is going to bet here.
Hey, they're looking for players in the 8-16 limit hold'em game. Should I lock you up, Art?
Yeah. Now, Ryan has got top pair weak kicker here, Dave. Is he going to check call on this flop? No, he gets away from it.
Throws it away.
And I believe the nut flush draw is going to take it down. Actually, when I stepped out for a second to grab a Red Bull before I fell asleep, I checked out the 500 must move, and I think you and I are probably going to be going home early tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's not a good game.
Yeah,
Okay.
not by any stretch.
Yeah, it's
I don't
actually
know if Ray
perfect.
can pan over there.
I was going to say my wife
Yeah.
just came back in from
Yeah.
New York today, so it's perfect for me. I was actually hoping that nobody really juicy would be here tonight.
Stupid, I'm the one that did action. Too tight.
Him.
I don't come here.
He's good for the game.
Ooh, pocket queens here for Sylvester. And I think he just limped. He just limped here. It's a straddled pot. I never understand that. I mean, has anybody shown any pre-flop aggression where you're going to guarantee a raise?
Well, maybe he's trying to trap somebody. You know, you never know.
Well, I assume that's what he's trying to do, but I'm just saying that
It's an odd play.
it's an odd play at this table. Six-way action here.
And Garland decided not to raise with ace-10 there.
9-7-3 here. Now, is anyone getting in trouble with the 9? Nope. Don't look like it.
Nobody has anything. Nobody has a pair.
Sylvester's probably going to throw a little feeler bet out. He does.
Thirty.
He bets 30s.
30s?
Runner, and Silton.
What is if Garland, well, forget it. I was going to say, what if Garland actually, like, would have raised once? Make a
I think you
move?
get away from queens.
Yeah, I
easily.
mean, would you, there's no way you call, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is there anybody, besides Sylvester and Gus, would you give action to anybody at this table?
I don't know.
I mean, if anybody shows real strength,
Let's
you got
take a
to figure
look.
they have it.
There it is.
Okay, so let's see.
You got Greek George over there. You got that little kid in seat number 9. He's a pretty good
Well,
player.
see when we got Tony, Filipino
You
Tony.
got the seasoned, as we call him, the seasoned turkey pro.
In seat number 2. Corey in seat 4, who gives you no action.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Nice seven.
Actually, the game's not that bad.
Waiting.
I got a little action in there.
Yeah.
Who's seat 5?
I don't know. I can't see.
Somebody get greedy.
It's one of Boston.
I know
isn't
that George in seat 9, also the guy next to George in seat number
7.
Well, seat 6 there. You know, that's Korean Kim, right?
Yeah, he's no
no
action there.
I'm not familiar with the guy in seat 7.
The main game looks a little better, though. You got
Yeah, it does.
Mo's in the game. Who else? A couple of
45.
Hollywood Russ in the game there.
Yeah, that's basically how you go and size up a table, right?
Yeah, pretty.
Dave and I always do this all the time in terms of game selection.
Well, I mean,
Who's in the game?
Sometimes I'll look at it. I'll actually give players ratings, and I'll rate players anywhere from +3 to -3.
Dave, we're going to put this to rest tonight.
Putting what to rest?
This show.
Oh, okay.
What? Last hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I like to rate players +3 to -3,
Yeah.
and the table has to be a certain number for me to play in it. For me to
Really?
game. Yeah.
The case queen on the flop.
And everybody has a rating.
Nice seven.
Really? What's my rating?
Oh.
You have to tune in tomorrow to find that one out. Little teaser. What's Bart's rating? -3 to
So the
+3.
really good players are like a -3?
Exactly. The
So I
best
assume that
players
you-
are -3.
I assume that you consider Paul a -3, probably, right?
No, not necessarily. He doesn't give action, but it depends on what kind of game you're looking for.
Right, if you're looking for a game to roll over, you know
Right.
he's not necessarily going to fire back at you that much.
Exactly. But Paul's certainly not a +3. +3 is very rare. I mean, +3 is like,
No, but I would assume Paul is probably a
Dimitri might be a
-2 or a
+3.
-3, right, Paul?
oh, definitely, yeah.
Got a raise here by Ryan, King Queen.
Definitely, Paul's probably a -2 because he won't give you much action.
Roy calls and Sylvester calls. Actually, you know what? Sylvester re-raised there with the ace 10 of spades.
Like a player like Joe Wynn, he's like a -1 because he won't give you any action, but at the same time, you're not going to lose many. You won't really lose much to him.
Again, that's a different Joe Wynn than everyone is.
Yeah, exactly. Not the one that everybody thinking about. That's Joe Lewis.
Right, he's probably a +2. Three-way action here. Queen 7-6 here. Well, Ryan's outflopped him.
And is Ryan going to bet?
Well, Sylvester had re-raised
Okay.
pre-flop. So
Now what's Ryan going to do? Let's see.
he immediately puts it all in.
Now, can you throw this away with ace 10?
Well, he's got one overcard. How much more? Trying to figure out how much more it
Yeah,
is.
and I get myself into these quandaries sometimes too, where I go, Jesus Christ, now I'm dead. I know,
Yeah.
you know you're drawing probably to 3 outs, and it's a matter of is the pot laying enough odds to go for it.
70.
Well, it's 70 more for about a $300 pot.
Now,
about 4.5 to 1 here.
look at the tell here, just out of curiosity. Ryan immediately moves all in, right? Every other time, he took like 6 minutes.
So
And
4.5 to 1 with 3 outs. He's not really
No,
getting
he's
it.
not getting enough, but he's going to
gonna
call.
make the He doesn't even have, like, say, backdoor spades. Like, if there's a flop had, like, 1 spade on it.
Yeah, he's got backdoor nothing here.
Backdoor straight running straight cards is a possibility. As you can see, he's a pretty big dog here, close to 6 to 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right. Well, here we go. He needs a 9 or an ace. There's 1 straight card. Nope.
Not going to come.
And Ryan's going to double through.
And Ryan takes the hand down.
Well, again, hey, this game tonight was a little bit tight, a little bit slow, but tomorrow night is going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be $25.50, $3,000 minimum, uncapped buy-in, lots of action. So join us again tomorrow. For everybody here in the booth and for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
Nice saddle.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. You bored.
You almost got straight on me, huh? One of the most.
Martin David are bored to death.
One of the least eventful.
Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare. Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you playing the game.
Are you bored to death? Don't come back.
That didn't sound exciting. That didn't sound sincere. That was quite possible.